long road for many and a long flight for many others, but we are now here at the grand finals. But before that, we get to do a few other things. We get to eliminate one other team. We get to see one other squad being a little bit more upset, but not by the hands of the Mongols. We're starting things off with Bleed versus Aurora. We're starting things off with these two beautiful gentlemen, Ne0kai and Scriv. Scriv, I'll start off with you. How are you feeling about this lower bracket finals?
Yeah, feeling really good about it. I think maybe for me, a surprise yesterday that Bleed went down so easily is maybe the thing. Other than that, I think that this is not totally out of left field. We've had a few upsets across the course of the tournament, but when it comes down to the top three, the final few, I don't think that many of us are really all that surprised. We may well have differed with where we put Mongols, where we put Bleed in particular, but ultimately this is making sense results-wise.
No, but this is what you want from a tournament, right? You want upsets early on, and then you want the big boys getting all together and getting a nice little bit of a show. How are you feeling about things so far leading into the final day?
Yeah, I mean, realistically for me, I mean, if we go off like my predictions, I had Mongols number 1, I Bleed number 2, Aurora number 3. So I'm kind of spot on so far. And if things are to go right in my predictions, Bleed win this and well, lose against the Mongols in the final, right? And because we saw yesterday, they never really got going against the Mongols. It was only that second half of that second map, which is anything we could talk about in a positive note. But there was a few close rounds, right? You know, we talk about Messinia's 1v3, shouldn't have lost that. They lost to a Rush B on Tech 9s, shouldn't have lost that as well against the full buy. So there's a few rounds where rather than it being like a 9-3 half, it could have been a 7-5 half. And then the second half of Bleed was much better. So you have all these caveats, have all these small points where I think Bleed will take at least a bit of confidence going forward. But for them against Aurora, I think it's a bit more of a familiar matchup, a bit more of a familiar foe.
And of course, a quick moment to thank out, obviously, Gaming Gladiators and OG Esports who came through and really made Asian Counter-Strike proud of what it can be and what it is right here and now. So yes, absolutely shout out to them. Honestly, sucks that we couldn't see them in the arena. I know there was a lot of fans for them over here. I know there's going to be a lot of fans over here across the day. The Steppe Arena will be fantastic. But let's take a look at the stage as well for a quick moment as the players will be walking out.
2024, presented by Mongolian Esport Association. Yesterday in this arena, we spent a really beautiful moments with the 6 teams and 4 matches. Today we have 3 matches today. We have a consolidation final and a celebrated show match and a grand final.
All right, who's cheering Bleed Esport? One more, who's cheering Bleed Esport?
Hello everybody, welcome into the game here, of course, as set up, as gone over on the desk, and of course our wonderful stage host there. It is the consolidation final here. Who will be joining Mongols in that grand final? Bleed with a second stab at it. Aurora with the run back in the lower bracket, as we always like to say. It is myself, Scriv, joined here by Ne0kai, and we are once again on for Bleed. So we've been able to follow their story quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, obviously, you know, for ourselves personally, we know Cypher from the UK scene very, very well. Kassad, of course, bit of a legend of our industry, and then all across this team, there's so much experience. But Aurora, you know, tier 2 demons, they're in the upper echelons of the tier 2. Maybe arguably you can make conversation about them being tier 1.5 with how good this side actually is. And of course, them making it towards a final would really cement that sort of a narrative. We're looking forward to this one though, the consolidation final here. Winner joins Mongols in that best of 5 grand final. It's going to be pretty damn sick, no two ways about it. We're really looking forward to it. Bleed had, unfortunately for them, a little bit of a miserable showing against the Mongols. Yes, they couldn't really get going. Need a little bit more out of them, but now's the time for them to get a bit of a warm-up. If they can beat Aurora here and do it handedly, they can get going towards the best of final with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were very aware, very aware of the fact that they did not perform well. Sort of caught them outside on the way out, you know, not being too intrusive. You don't want to do that after a game, but just sort of overhearing them being like, oh, well, you know, kind of a tough one. Not much we can do about that. You know, there didn't seem to be any bad energy, and there is, I suppose, that weird kind of solace that losing a game pretty hard, you know that it's sort of a collective thing, and it's just not gone your way. They've played very well with the home crowd, and your team's still getting used to that environment again for some of the players.
For sure.
With this 5-man lineup, you know, it's not quite as simple as it was. So we'll see whether Aurora, a more familiar team, puts them in a better mindset, better starting off point, let's say.
One of those for me as well, where for Bleed, you know, I got a chance to speak to them this morning, just prior to them going out. They did their little team talk, did the veto and all the rest, and had a little conversation. They were saying, hey, man, you know, that game, while on paper didn't look actually, you know, it looked one-sided. They said, you know, I mentioned a bit on the desk, there was a couple of rounds which they gone the other way, lost the 1v3 to Mazzinho, lost that against the full eco Tech-9 rush when they were on a full buy.
I want to say, I think there was like a 2v4 in there somewhere as well.
You know, that would have changed things. But, ladies and gents, it looks like we are ready to go. Bleed taking on Aurora here in the consolidation final. Mirage is where we will kick-start things. And of course, for us, we're looking at this and looking at the response out of Bleed. The Mirage yesterday wasn't too great, but they want to try and make this one stick. They'll be starting on that T side. And, well, no, Bleed will be starting on the CT side, I say, and Aurora on the T side.
Yes, indeed. Hood will hopefully get flipped over and sorted out for you. But yeah, Mirage seems to be a real solid bullying point for the side of Bleed. Ancient coming up next, and Nubis as that final lackey will dish out the first bit of damage. Nearly finishes off Nork, of course, as you noted. We have had this bomb planted. Cypher on the backside. There's a lot of pressure. Not looking too good. It's Jacob, in fact, and he holds down the line. Looking really great for a two-piece. Hampus left in towards CT. Kit on the bomb. Looking very good here for Bleed. Kenzie can't find the head, and okay, that's a nice shot, but ultimately the round will go against him. And of course, Bleed coming away with the first.
Big overextension, it has to be said, coming through from the Aurora side. They really do lack the discipline in that post-spawn. You know, bomb goes down, they go looking for a couple of fights, and nothing comes because, you know, Bleed had gone for a very kind of heavy mid to B lean. Doesn't come through, so they're slow on the retake, but they just give way too many fights, way too many 1v1s. Over towards the Bleed side, and they'll punish them. Really well done, Jacob. That double over towards Ramp, setting the tone massively. And then that 1v3, no chance of denying it. Smoke on the bomb, nice and easy, can stick it all the way. Bleed, very good for them to get a first round on the board, but a bomb plant is not the worst thing in the world. It will at least mean that we get Aurora, full buyout from them, AK, Dom Galil, Scout, and a Deagle for Norvi to round it out. Firepower maybe slightly better over towards Bleed. Quad M4, Scout for them. So we shall see. Looks like with this round,
I think it's going to be a reset.
So it gives us a little bit of time to talk about what we've got coming into this. Only Util over towards Aurora is in the hands of Norvi. That's why he's taking that Deagle buy. So he's have a little bit of something to work with. Across the board, a little bit more over towards Bleed with the round win. Might be a little bit easier for them in this one. If Aurora can answer back, though, we say what we always say. Who cares about a pistol round? Force buy is more important.
There is some truth in it. Especially again, just to kind of note for people, we are on the older patch. Maybe if you're, just joining us today as we get into that Championship Sunday. But yeah, so we are on the older patch. Vertigo not been changed. Although Vertigo not been touched, I think a lot of teams are like, what's the point? Because it's going to be gone next time we play, so there's no point really leaking strats, I guess. I don't know.
Weirdly enough, a lot of teams have actually changed their veto and banning Vertigo when they would normally float it. So it is definitely a weird thing of the sense of either teams are hesitant to play on the previous patch, or like you said, give away strats, but I think also probably there's probably a mindset of like, well, why do we need to play this anymore, right? It's a completely different map now.
It's just a waste of your energy, really.
Yeah, exactly. There's just no point. So I think for me, I do actually like that from teams, but it does also mean there's one map that just doesn't really get any kind of love coming through.
Hey, listen, man.
Vertigo's pretty ass.
If it's Vertigo, I'm not complaining. Personally,
it's pretty bad, dude. So I'm kind of happy with that.
Yeah. Every time Vertigo comes out, I'm a little sad. I know you're not a big fan of Inferno. I think if you've not had Inferno for a while, it can be kind of nice to again get refreshed on the T-side rotational play. But Neo's not about that. Maybe I'm just like nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like that's the only map that I played for like 3 years, Inferno and Cash.
Well, the thing is, I actually don't mind playing it. I play actually a lot of Vertigo. When I queue normally, I'm not really in charge of the queue. I kind of just join in. But the only maps that we ever see
not team leader
in our rotation, I'm not alpha.
It's unfortunate.
The only thing we ever see is like Vertigo, Mirage, and occasionally Nuke. Because some people can't run it. So rest up though, we'll kickstart things. Faven going to get caught early. This round is live, and it's a good start for Aurora. All the util already used?
Yeah.
He had a molly, smoke, and a flash, right? So
just gone super fast. So kind of interesting, wanting to get out onto the A-bomb site really quickly. And it seems to be working out for them, They are coming out on top of proceedings here. Nork with a nice shot. And Hampus with the chase down here might be able to make things a bit interesting, but Norvi knows what's up. He's out of there, right? Don't give them any way back into this round. Aurora with an easy reset, but very scary force buy. Just completely caught off by the pace of Aurora into this round. And then I don't know, man, scout early on, weapons like this can be a bit difficult to get into the mix, particularly on an A defense.
M4 picked up a deco. Probably a little bit better in these quote-unquote close range. Jules, Nork, I don't know if he's going to survive here. They might check him, they might clear an Art Deco nose, tapping away, spraying down. Nork will fall. Only Hampus left, the IGL. Moving towards Bleed and probably keeps on of the 7-4, you'd say. One going up towards Cat now, so he should avoid him. It's a really good response out of Aurora. Only the one casualty. They just take Angels. They just back themselves in the fight. And I think Bleed get caught a little bit off guard. They didn't expect maybe that level of pace out from the Aurora side, but it's going to work.
Yeah, man. I mean, Aurora on land so far have actually been looking pretty good. I think that, again, when they've gotten into the arena, the energy of it is a lot for them to deal with. But at the same time, I feel like, you could put these guys outside in the rain under a jet engine and they'd still play to the same kind of level. You know what I mean? Like they're
they just
really
don't seem to be fazed by anything.
Exactly. Like the mental fortitude of Aurora in particular, those tier 2 CIS teams, until of course they kind of implode. But Aurora looking pretty good in that sense. I think they have some fantastic pieces. They've really made it work. We maybe worried a little bit. They removed Hooch quite quickly after adding him. He came as a little bit of a package deal with Deco, but I don't know, maybe it just wasn't quite working there. It seems to be pretty good for them at the moment. I think this would be a fair placing after Melbourne. They'd be in a really nice spot if they can at the very least secure top 2.
Second place at Melbourne, of course, for them that was good. Norvi actually going to shuffle the guns away. That's really well done. Make sure there's just no, additives for maybe Bleed to get a fall back on. They've got a force buy of upgraded pistols. That's all they've got. One flash, and that's basically what they've got in the locker. It's not actually the easiest buy to work with, but we've kind of seen weird and wacky rounds in this before. Cypher has been pretty damn good with that 5-7 at close range. Has a Deagle for support too. Jacob going to fall off. He'll hear all this room. Cypher will get 2. We said it. Cypher in the 5-7. It's a match made in heaven. Deco will answer back for a double of his own.
We'll see here if they are able to pick up the pieces. It's looking good. Deco leading that charge 3 come out for him. It's all down to Nork. Despite Cypher's heroics, there was nobody else that was able to help out. You know, he was set up. He was a bit isolated, a bit on an island. They maybe weren't expecting him to pop off, so they weren't set up around it. It ends up just being a nice bit of damage, which ultimately is all they are able to find. So, timeout coming round. I would imagine from the Bleed side, Kassad getting very, very vocal here, as you can see, ready to go, trying to get them into that sort of last half from yesterday as soon as possible, right? It was very, very one-sided for a while against the Mongols, and then suddenly, when the pressure was on, backs against the wall, they started delivering. They just didn't have enough room. So if they can tap into that again, right now, I think we could be in for a bit of a Bleed masterclass.
It's a classic thing. They just didn't give themselves enough time to get in towards that game. It was the age-old too little too late. And but what we did see was really positive, very, very good. So the question is, can they, I guess, start a little earlier? And this is actually what we've seen throughout this entire tournament, right? Remember the Chinggis Warriors game, 00T map 1 on Mirage. They really do take a little bit of time to get going. Kassad's trying to activate them, trying to wake them up as early as. We're standing here just above. You can see all of that. Faven is going to get one. The ding going to come through as well. But thankfully, Deco and Lackey ready for the fight. Pistol pulled out as well. And it's going to go the way of Aurora. Ooh, a little egg up there, but we're okay. In the end, it's Aurora who closed things out. Not too expensive.
Yeah, it's true. There was a moment there, wasn't there, you know, when the flashes were coming in and whatnot, where I think we were all a bit worried for Aurora, but ultimately, nothing coming off. Flash over the top. I think maybe a move to just try and put the fear into Aurora, that it's like, you know, Bleed are not afraid to get aggressive. You're going to have to watch this ramp area. What is the big man cooking up? All eyes on Kassad, as always.
And credit for Aurora there as well. You can tell they've done their research in the kind of backs against the wall moments. Bleed are going to get aggro. They're going to try and get the pistols activated. They were guns up. They were ready, right? A lot of times you see teams get caught, Yuto in hand. Not the case. Aurora, made that one work. This is far the most important round we've seen so far. First gun round, and Lackey will find the first kill.
Ooh, creeping forwards here. Faven looking for a way in. He's going to get it as well with the flash. Nice little response from Bleed, and again, making ramp an area in which they have firm control. I think the nade made a bit of noise, confirms the location of Jacob, but he's still able to get away with 2. Not before falling, however. Deco changing up onto an AK, a man advantage here for Bleed. Resalt making his own little move. However, the AWP trained in between the 2 angles. The bomb is the big thing that slows the 2-man dynamic duo down on the Aurora side. But if there's anyone that you want, it's these guys.
Absolutely. These 2 have been farming. Result yesterday, that map number 2, or map number 3, was absolutely unbelievable. Without a shadow of a doubt, has been quite consistently dragging the side across the line, especially when they dip out of form and
yeah,
maybe you don't see the bigger names. Deco was ill yesterday, so we can give him a little bit of leeway. He was a little bit under the weather. So he did play the first map. For those who tuned in for that brain, the coach stepped in, bless him. Doesn't have a lot of playing experience from something little to none, at least on HLTV. So he did what he could. He did what he could. Either way, the 2 going to try and make a move here. There's a van player. Will they clear? Now he's a known quantity. Hampers. He may have shot a little bit too early. He's there, and he will fall to the hands of Deco. Bomb going to go down. 2 versus 2. Round on.
Scary stuff. Hampus maybe head in hands at the moment. Can't watch this one. Both his teammates are a little low. They're coming in separately as well. Faven falls, and so does the AWP. A 2v3 recovery for Aurora. You can see it's a huge round. Energy is up. Man alive, not great from Bleed. It's tough. Hampus is in a position where maybe he's forced to do something. Just mis-executes it. And, you know, they come out onto B. How often do you expect both of them in a situation like that? Both to jump out a window, not to check van at all. You know, there's a world we might catch on the replay where they maybe even didn't consider it. Hampus could have just like walked out while they were planting the bomb. You know, it's a very confusing sort of spot to be in. Doesn't make much sense is maybe the Hampus line of thinking, but unfortunately getting away from them. So again, has to be nipped in the bud quickly.
It's tough to kind of say, but you know, in those situations, we don't even really say it with hindsight, but now we know in hindsight. Hampus have actually just played a little bit of trigger discipline. Would have been okay. You see what it means to them. Result, he's been so reliable, and again in the 2v3, that is a big round to be taken. See Kenzie get very vocal throughout the tournament too. It's good to see. There's a couple of stoic faces over there as well. Deco not exactly the noisiest of fellas. So it's good to have like he's a couple of people who can bring the vibes. Kenzie, Resol, both very, very loud and proud. Norvi is kind of keeping things level. He's kind of the mediator between the two. Lackey and Deco are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Norvi's kind of in the middle. And then Kenzie and Resol super loud, very young guys.
It's true.
I think it's one of those things which is actually really nice to see. That the young guys are obviously very talented. They're just happy to be here, and they play very good Counter-Strike. So,
but I think that's it. I think that's it, man. These guys, again, from this region, from the ilk of players, the generation of players that they are, I don't know that they care about much else, you know, the other things that come into your head maybe as a pro player, you know, relationships, money, sort of the way you look, the brand that you're trying to put across, the personality that you might have on like an interview or whatever. These guys, they just want to play Counter-Strike wherever it is, wherever it happens, you know, maybe even it's like they're a little bit like, oh, you got to fly out to Mongolia, it's going to take like 14 hours to like, can I not just play from home right now? Like I'll give you, I'll play 10 games a day, but you know, I just want to play. So I feel like that is the world in which they live, and it translates into LAN.
Yeah, they play very good Counter-Strike, and this goes back to what we're saying. They're just not really phased by anything, right? Doesn't matter whether it's LAN, whether it's online, who they're against, the level. They just play their game. That's why Aurora are very kind of respected within sort of the Upper Echelons of the Tier 2 scene. We do a lot of their Tier 2 Counter-Strike, and you know, we've always had to have a lot of respect for them because they're a very good team when they get going. Low buy for Bleed here. They got one scout and a few pistols, and already one of them dead to right. But Favin, well, at least answer back for one of his own as he catches Kenzie off guard.
Yeah, a little unchecked. He's going to get some support coming around as well from that connector area, and Lackey has just missed them in at middle. Another reveals himself in that connector area. Cypher not really able to find the same success. Favin melts down to the nadage. Hamper's trying to get out of there, but the mid lurk in. And Aurora are in their heads right now, really looking smooth in these recent rounds.
Yeah, rent-free, it has to be said, for the last few. Hamper's trying to get away with the AK-47. Lackey's got other ideas. He catches him off guard. The scout now being spotted as well. One of those things, they can hunt the scout, and they will. It's one of those things where you wouldn't really care in the end because you know there's going to be a full buy coming out from Bleed regardless. But this is a really, really strong start. No two ways about it. Bleed side are on fire, putting up some very good numbers. Individuals are stepping up in a strong way as well, and this is exactly what we want to see. At the very least, Bleed need a little bit more out from them. Just to mention as well, for those who maybe aren't aware, the veto coming in towards this series is Mirage picked by Aurora, Ancient picked by Bleed, and if we need it, Anubis is our decider.
Yeah, kind of nice. I mean, mixing it up with the Ancient pickup. Anubis has been a map that they've really lent on at this point, so really, really interesting to see from Bleed, maybe trying to mix things up. I think, again, they will have known that the Mirage is coming out. Is that where they've done most of their work? Overnight, where they're just trying to get some rest, it's always difficult in between games, you know, and this is a stacked tournament format-wise. Trying something different in this round as well, as Jacob pushes up, try and be aggressive. Works a little bit, but I don't know, it's a lot of control that's been lost.
4v4 though, bit of damage being dealt towards Deco, quite a bit being done towards Kenzie, so maybe you can make conversations about the advantages towards Bleed. 2v2 stack as well, 2 across B, 2 across A for the Bleed side in this setup, so losing sight here would be pretty damning, will make retakes all the more difficult. 45 seconds to work with, and now they start to make a move. Novi leading the charge. Got a good idea as well. One spotted in towards CT's. Knocked off, who reigns off though, because Novi will be dropped. But it's the bomb making its way towards B.
Yeah, rough spot here for Aurora, first time in a while. Hamper's hidden away, a classic B anchor position this one. Cypher looking to help him out, try and bait them in. Hampers peaks at the perfect time, gets all three himself in fact, and Bleed back on the board. So here we go, better late than never. They are still in a position where they can recover this first half. They just have to find a few in a row, break that bank, bring it close.
Yeah, good support coming through from Cypher as well. He's playing out through ladder just in case they went for a B split. They don't, they pop it. It's a really good hold. Hamper's changing up his position a little bit as well. That van area is occasionally a little bit one and done. Of course, it was not that good against the 2v3 earlier. Plays over towards Jail, has the support of Cypher in terms of crossfire, and it's really, really effective. So, 5-2. Second put on the ball for Bleed. If they can make something out of this first half, at least more than what we saw in their best 3 yesterday, there is a world. Aurora are a side, though, who don't really ever let off the gas.
No, it's true. And again, you know, they do not let things generally get to them. If it gets a bit tougher, it can. It's sort of a very peaky and trophy sort of style, but when it comes down to the fights, that's exactly where they flourish. 4 versus 3. Norvi left very, very low, but Bleed are down. They've got to revisit the drawing board, figure out how to get back into round number 8.
4v3. Bleed. In these kind of clutch situations, we haven't seen anything too much of them. They had a 3v2 lost earlier. Now the numbers don't favour them. The only caveat they have is that Norvi only 3 points of HP. Stronger to win than he can be out of this round, so not the end of the world just yet. 40 seconds, they call for a freeze as well, but they're starting to group towards B. And I feel like Nork has the right idea about this. One playing Van once again, Norvi playing contact, and he's getting so much information. He might spot the barrel as well, potentially. Nork could be in trouble. They make a move, miss shot, and now they come.
Yeah, a little panicky from Nork, unfortunately. Hampus caught completely off guard. The AWP at the back end of the site, surely going to get overwhelmed, and he does. Just Faven, it'll be a save, no chance in. Oh man, what a ridiculous sort of round, but Aurora 5-2. They've got room to work with, they've still got cash. And they were like, yeah, let me just try this. Let me just try this contact B. And then the deeper he got in, the more they followed. Crazy, absolutely crazy. You got to feel for Bleed in a sense, but there was a gap. Thanks to that man disadvantage, and Aurora absolutely abused it.
Yeah, it's got to be said, actually really good kind of mid to late round call coming out from Norvi there as well. He's like, right lads, I'm going to go get the information. We're not going to overcommit here. I'm 3 points of HP. If I die, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to go see what I can find. And he gets all the way up cat, all the way towards site before seeing anybody. And then Hampus jump peeks him, spots him, and by that point it's too little too late. The push comes through, the B take is great, and Aurora answer back. 6-2, and they put themselves in a really strong position here. This first half already showcasing just how strong this side are, and maybe, you know, the little inconsistencies coming out from the Bleed roster. We're here stood in the casting booth just above the Bleed side of things, and we can see Kassad getting pretty vocal, and I don't blame him. He knows what situation they're in right now. Second tack ball's called for Bleed, and Kassad desperately needs to try and rally the troops because they look a little off their game. This is how the game against the Mongols started. Yeah,
it's true, and I feel like Kassad, you know, he knows what they are capable of. He knows what they can do, right? He has seen it online, seen it in the practice. But the stage seems to be getting to this Bleed team. The pressure maybe that they've put on themselves coming into it, that this is certainly a tournament that they could win. Maybe they believe that up until a certain point, and then they've hit the wall yesterday against the Mongols.
It's their first LAN as a team, right? So this is the real big litmus test. It's all well and good being good online, but for this Bleed side with their aspirations, it's all about LAN. And this was the good thing about this MESA Nomadic LAN. It was a good test, you know, against kind of upper echelon tier 2 EU teams, the best of the best in kind of Asia as well. This is the perfect kind of proving grounds, and so far it's looked a little shaky on LAN.
Flashes round here, but no early peaks coming in. Very slow, widespread default from Aurora. You know, the bomb dropped quite far back, but not even showing sort of any presence towards middle. They're just watching all the extremities to see whether Bleed are going to push in, and it's a fairly decent answer after a tack pause, right? A lot of teams will try and pull off something a bit aggressive. Aurora not A, giving them the opportunity to find the kills, and B, just not giving them the information to work off of.
Yeah.
So they've held on to their utility. They'll go for a late mid push and try and work around a bit of a B split. However, Nork might put a spanner in those works.
And now they're starting to make a move back towards mid. B didn't quite work on that initial push. Norvi going to call from the grave, and he's called. The bomb's there back towards B, to mid, may I say. Deco goes for one, but Lackey will fall. Deco's low as well. Yes, he's got the AWP, but he's still so vulnerable. Now the numbers favor Bleed.
Yeah, not looking too good at all as they look to move their way around. 25 seconds on the clock. Kenzie, does find a kill, but it's Result that gets caught over at ramp. It's not going to happen, is it, surely? Deco with the bomb, though. It's on the other side of the map. He's now left completely alone. Molotov down. Will buy him the bomb plant, maybe? Yeah. Nork is going to give it. Maybe it was a fake. Got to be careful. So we'll see. Bomb goes down. Reset is in. If there's any weapon you want, it's the AWP on low HP, but Nork absolutely deletes him as he tries to peek round. Bleed will once again be back in. Can they turn it into something more?
Yeah, nice shot coming through just to see it off as well. Deco's playing that right. I think if that 1v3, especially with an AWP and with low HP, you have to be proactive. You have to take fights, and he tries, but goal the quicker. Very decent round from him, in all fairness. 3 kills to his name. Not too bad. 6-3 now. So, final 3 rounds of this half, at least Bleed opening the door to making it an even half. I think for me, on this map, which has been a little bit of a weakness for Bleed, I would say if they can get 5 rounds, I'd be relatively happy. That's when maybe the T-side can get active. That's when you can try and activate individuals, you know, like your Jacobs, like your Cyphers in particular, on that T-side, and see if they can get some space for you. But for now, Aurora still in the driver's seat, 6-3. Of course, they can buy back in, no issues. They've got plenty of cash on that side.
Lucky. Creeping in, Kenzie doing the same downstairs. Again, Aurora taking things a bit slower, although slightly more forward-facing. It's a very popular smoke at the moment. The mid smoke, I guess you could call it, right? With the way that CS2 goes, you can spread it out a bit wider. They're not afraid to take the fight in towards connector, but it allows them to maybe hide in the bottom of it, blow it open. But it would appear Mr. Nork somewhat prepared as he finds that opener.
Oh, Jacob above the smoke finds Wrestle, and he dips into the smoke as well to hide in plain sight. And I realise there's no more sound cues around mid. Lucky's making a move, contact B. These contact plays have normally been pretty good for Aurora, but Favin hears all of this. Deco could be in trouble. And he falls to the hands of Favin. That's the bomb. That's probably the round 2. You're 45 seconds, a 2v5. And I think if you're Aurora, what do you even do? Well, saving's probably not an option for Lucky. He's a known quantity, and a dead one at that as well. Hampus with that secondary AWP. We see him off. And I think Norvi's going to follow suit. A flawless round from Bleed. That is a tempo changer.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's a really deadly look at the moment. Bleed may well be able to even things up. I don't know, how do you feel? 6-6 at the turn of the half, would that be acceptable, right? Not their pick, not their most comfortable map in the world?
I think that's really good for Bleed, in all honesty. I mean, you're looking at kind of a 6-0 scoreline, a map they're not amazing on from what we've seen so far this tournament, hence why probably Aurora, to a degree, also want to pick into it. But you're looking at this for me and you're thinking, you know, this is a really good opportunity for this Bleed side to actually gain a bit of confidence. Let's say even if they're planning on this map not going in their favor because it's been a little bit of a weakness, if they can at least make it competitive against Aurora, who are easily one of the best Mirage teams at this tournament, if not, well, I'd probably say second best off the Mongols. You know, for me, I look at it and say, that's actually not bad. 6-all from where they were at one point as well, 6-1 they were down. I think that's a really good recovery. Pause being called. Kasard had a little bit of a talk, but honestly, for them, it's a pretty simple notion for Kasard here, right? Just keep doing what you're doing. Aurora have a little bit of money, not enough to facilitate a full buy. So a hero AK for Norvi is what we're working with, and just a couple of deals alongside it.
Slow roll, of course. But yeah, they're looking to work this AK. No one around for the time being, so you know, the closer this can get to a few more chaotic fights, I do worry for Bleed that the AK might catch them. Oh, they blew the smoke themselves and it backfired straight into the AK. Good readout from that T side, but it's Favin holding out on A, looking solid. Will lose his head to the Deeg of Deco, but surely has done enough for the round itself. Oh, maybe not. Deco. Here we go, getting interesting. 2 versus 2. He's got armor. There is an AWP recoverable, and you know he's absolutely gagging for it. Deco nearly clotheslines them into the next round. It's all down to Resort. Can he find the heady here? He's spotted out the player, looking to just tap Cypher down. A clean reload pulled off by Cypher, and a catch at the top of stairs will be enough for Bleed. A sigh of relief comes from the big man, and another round for Bleed.
My God, Deco is such an animal when he gets going, especially with that Deagle. That is scary. That second shot is absolutely superb. He's given them something out of nothing. He's given them a chance in a round which never should have even been the case. When Favin gets that 3, it should be done. But this second shot, oh my God, beautiful. Beautiful. And that third is actually even wonderful as well. I mean, man, this is really showcasing what he can do. Rest so angry, but honestly, I think that's a pretty decent round all in all. A low to no buy. You got 1 hero AK, bit of armor, no utility, and they've brought it down to a 1v1. I don't think that's not that bad, but the only thing for Aurora is they have lost control of this lead. The most they can get is a 7-5 now from what felt at one point like a really one-sided showing.
Yep, absolutely. Bleed changing things up as they rush down middle. This is a round that they had tried previously with Jacob up the top, and it did not go so well for them. Faven immediately caught off guard. Aurora feel like they've seen this one before somewhere, and I wonder where is the question. That's right, it's in the win column. Number 7 certainly on the cards as they are just rolling through the Bleed defense. Down to just Nork. He's spotted, he's caught, nice frag, but surely not going to be worth anything. They'll just stay away from him. He's left on half HP as well, so we do not expect this one to go his way.
Yeah. No. Safe to say, not going to do a hell of a lot here. Rumbu's going to come through over towards CT. Actually fails, but that doesn't really matter. Nork, why not give it a go at the tail end? He gets one tap by Norvi to close it. Great response at the tail end from Aurora, but 7-5. I think both sides, to a degree, can be happy with that. Bleed, obviously, they would have liked to have made it a 6-4, but they were 6-1 down, right? So to get up to 7-5, I don't think that's that.
Yeah, it's still acceptable, right? You know, we can talk up the dream, we can talk up the big moments of, you know, bringing it as close as possible, recovering as many rounds as they can, but also from a realist's perspective. Aurora are likely to win at least 1 or 2.
Yes.
So the fact that you keep that to a minimum as well is pretty good.
Converted, as you saw. It's those sort of rounds as well for Aurora, which were very, very important for them to get a lead, get the confidence, stability, all the good things we like to talk about. But now we're heading towards our second half. Might be a little bit tougher coming through for Aurora. T-side of Bleed is actually pretty scary. Cypher, when he gets going, when they unleash him, let him get active, he's very difficult to deal with. Jacob as well, such a reliable person. I mean, we look to him to lurk a lot. In through B apartments, in through Shore, that kind of thing. So I'm looking to see how Bleed respond, but how Aurora try and face them. Do you fight fire with fire? Because I don't know if you want to get down in the trenches with Bleed. I don't know if they want to raw, you know, fist fight, right? This is a side who they're going to play aggro. They're going to get up in your face. And for Aurora, who are a little bit more of a strategic, I guess you could say, side in the sense that I don't know if they want to rely on that. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a kind of a clash of the mindsets here, but a lot of experience on towards Bleed in the team. Cassard, of course, the coach too. Are expecting a big thing, and if they can get a pistol here, game on.
Game on. Time will indeed tell, as you say. T-side, I think, is an area in which Bleed have looked pretty effective. So we're hoping that that continues for them. Although, that being said, not so much on Mirage, right? This map has been very tough for them throughout the tournament. Julie's bought up for Kenzie, Kit out, Molotov as well. So kind of an interesting sort of buy, I think, from Aurora in a sense. There's a flash that's now just been recovered, but a lot of utility for Bleed.
Yeah, this is them. I mean, this is Norvi. He's trying to stop a B rush, but so far not the case, because they're making their way up Cat. Starting to have a little look in here. Molotov will come down, so that'll slow them down. They're going to go right through it.
Oh, Norvi finds the first head, though. Decent spot for him on this corner. Needs a bit of assistance. Not going to come his way. Still, player at the back end of the site. Will they go unchecked? Might be the case. Deco, who's been looking good all game long, does chime in for one. Will it be enough? Hampus is late up window, and they are looking to take him out. He's bought a lot of time. Haven't planted the bomb. Interesting. I mean, Hampus, you know, gives his life for that at the end of the day. They're going to fake it out and try and find the frags, but it's not looking too good. P250 got to reload. Spammed down by the Julies, of course. And Aurora nick away that pistol. Looked pretty good once they got B control and Hampus in behind. I thought, you know, they might be able to do something with that.
That's pretty important. Getting a pistol out here, I mean, that will really, once again, kickstart things for the Aurora side and give themselves a real good chance to work with. I think for Bleed is something you touched on. They were just too slow to get that bomb down. You want to, even in any sort of situation you're in, obviously you don't really have the coverage, but you want to get that bomb down and put the pressure on towards Aurora in the retake. Put a timer above their head, and they don't. Aurora know it's 45 seconds on the clock. Bomb's not down yet, so onus isn't on them. That's what happens. And of course, with no bomb plant, it means no buy, sadly, for this bleed side. They've got a few upgraded pistols, but nothing too miraculous. It should be Aurora getting a 9th in. And with 9 to 5, we're talking, what, 3 gun rounds, basically, before Aurora can see this map off.
Lucky and Deco set up and ready to go around here. It's a little messy to begin with. Oh, yep, and some dinks coming back in. Kill as well, 2 in fact for Jacob. He will fall, and Hampus being annoying on B, not able to find anything. Will take some damage there, but not a round that Bleed are expected to take.
Yeah, a couple of casualties, nothing too, I guess, damning, you can say, over towards Aurora. I guess a low buy round. You're expected when they pop in that they maybe get a kill or 2. As long as it's not more than that, you are fine. So that's okay. 9 to 5 buys come through here for the Bleed side, and I mean, we're getting to a point where they've got to start converting these. I mean, we're not those rounds specifically, but these gun rounds. They've not got a hell of a lot left. We're looking at this and saying, time's of the essence. It took a while to get going against the Mongols, and they don't really have the ability or the excuse to do that here. Favin for the first, though, that's important. Deco forward, so will Resso. That's the start that Bleed needed on their gun round.
Oh my goodness, Jacob, what are you doing? Just running out on A, finding heads. Kind of a wild round out from Bleed, and 2 of the sort of quieter members, typically speaking, in Favin and Jacob, actually getting very loud in this round. Jacob super deep, maybe changing things up a bit. Maybe you know, quick roll swap might be something that they've done in the hotel room after the game yesterday.
Well, I did actually notice that Favin played a lot of the Bianca positions, at least in the past. Now Hampus is doing that, so they are changing things up a little bit. Yeah. And I think that's good, right? Learning on the fly, they're adapting, they're trying to find a way to make this Mirage a little bit more comfortable. And actually, to a degree, it was kind of working. Hampus wants to call around that B site and then rotate off it just so he can be in the thick of it, because Aurora like a lot of those contact B plays.
I think it's also something where, you know, you're in a tournament, you've not had much practice coming into it, you're not getting the opportunity to really do like hardcore practice while you're here. So it kind of makes sense to like get some duct tape out and sort of patch the holes that way. And you never know, summon might work. You put Jacob on like T-side entry going crazy like this, he might just take over the game right now. You know, and we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of here for some creativity from Bleed.
Seems like the players as well to get Cypher out in via mid. That's where he's been doing a lot of his work. He's either pushing up short quite aggro or just pugging in towards Con. They're going to drop in earlier. They're going to go for the boost. It's a very strong boost, but because that right side smoke, they've crossed the Delpan already. It's going to give Hampus a bit of space to work with. I think he spotted them as well. Deco now tagged. They're in trouble.
Oh, Nork finding that first. Deco just trying to spam away and see if anything is on the other side, but nothing found. It's actually Resol and Norby that come through with the early Aurora kills and gives them the advantage. But Cypher in all this carnage and all this chaos has made his way out on towards B, and it's a possibility that I don't think has really been read by Aurora just yet. Resol going to get completely caught off guard. That feels like a position where you should be winning the round now for Bleed. They're in so deep, they've stolen so many areas of the map.
Yeah.
There has to be a retake of like market and maybe even a bit deeper than that as well for Aurora. They don't fancy it, so they're going to save.
I don't blame them. I think the priority for them is keeping 3 alive. They can bite back in around it, in towards the next. So that's for them the only thing that they care about. Not exactly a hell of a lot of lost runners built up, but they can potentially get, you know, FAMAS half armor out, maybe MP9 armor, a bit of util, if they want those sort of little added things to work with. But where we're at the moment, Bleed, that's the sort of start we wanted to see. You know, you make your first gun round stick, you make your second follow-up as well. We're seeing consistency, consecutive rounds come through. Everything we want now from Bleed on this C side, we're getting. Maybe bar the pistol, but it's all right. This is good. Aurora, they are starting to feel a bit of pressure now. And this is where Bleed can start to get active. Hamp is very good at calling from these kind of catch-up situations. We saw it happen in that second map against the Mongols where they went on a really good spree on Ubers due to that strong T side, and that's what they're looking at here. Especially, like you said, where they probably haven't had a lot of run-throughs. T side is probably the easier one to kind of play around. You can just allow individuals to do individual things. Jacob's been pretty damn solid when he's been called upon.
It's pretty aggressive so far, the calling. Very spawn-based, you know, looking for early fights, and whoever just has that forward spawn after the first frag. So kind of curious. See whether it keeps on working for them, I suppose. The hardcore save here. Norby is set up. Ooh, and it's a bit of a scary 2-man there. They have to be careful sending anyone else round that corner. They're actually going to be savvy of that fact, but losing a player early on is never nice.
No, not at all. Not at all. Double M4 AK, 2 USPSs with potentially a gun to pick up. If you are Kenzie, you want to make a little move over there? He's not, though. He's going to group up. It's both pistols who actually pushed into his apartments, spotted nothing early, but are now falling away. I don't know if that's going to give them the wrong information, think about A pop, but they're rotating off that B side. They're going to leave just Result here. Oh, they could have called this wrong. Back in towards mid, though. Control taken here by Bleed. Smoking towards window. One over towards top con / jungle as well. But the bomb and the idea, the direction staying towards B. Deco has come back over to support.
Norvi maybe going to join them sooner rather than later as well, so we'll see what happens here. Ooh, there's Deco. In for one, looking pretty good. Does get taken down, however. Result just has to buy some time, some space. Being a bit annoying, hard to track. Oh. Runs out of ammo on a kill that he may well have bagged. Bleed have done well, battling their way through. The entourage of Aurora just leaves Lackey with this AK, and I think he will hold it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's actually going to play some slightly aggro exit positions here, he's looking for a fight. I don't think his barrel will be spotted here, so he should be okay, but it is a somewhat expected position to play. Lackey waiting. And he will get it. Good timing. Nork gets clipped. It will be Bleed making this a one-round game. They're at least opening the door. The conversation's here now, Bleed.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've absolutely done some research into what's the barrage. It looks considerably better than what we saw yesterday, at the very least, against the Mongols. So already, they maybe baited Aurora in to this pick, and work's been done, obviously. T-Stats look very clean. Tail end of that CT half was good as well. Aurora being made to work for this. It's a one-round game. But of course, that was a low buy out for the Aurora side, so they can buy back in towards this one, get the guns on deck. Once again, it isn't just the USPSs. I would have actually liked the force buy in that previous round. I think they could have made something work of it. But, yeah, they opt against it, and unfortunately, rest out of USPS. He's not really going to be too proactive over towards B. Timeout going to be called there before we get underway into it. Once again, Kasar gets on the mic here. Brain over towards Aurora, chatting towards Hampus and Norvi, respectively, for each side. So, what are they cooking up?
Yeah, something that I have, mentioned again previously. You can see that Kassad sometimes in these timeouts, maybe particularly ones that they've not called themselves, but he gets pretty active into certain specific players.
Yes,
and I think as you're just kind of mentioning there, a lot of that attention, as we could see, was on to Hampus. Is it positive reinforcement? Keep doing what you're doing. Calls are looking good. Try and mix it up a bit more. Or is it something specific? Is it remember this round we talked about last night?
Yeah.
Time will tell. Time will tell. Jacob aggressive in towards mid. Quick B presence here, both up and down. What are they going to do with it?
No warp out here for Aurora, so Nork has the advantage at range, I guess you could say. As Deco can only wield the M4. A really good map so far. Deco 17 kills to his name. Top of the server here. The rest of the team lagging behind a little bit. At least they're all across the board in double digits. And a big thing we spoke about, Hampus has been so important to the side. Whenever they found success, a lot of it has come off the back of not only his core, but actually his fragging ability. But he's had a quiet map. 6 and 12 he finds himself. So we saw Kasar getting, like you said, pretty vocal to him specifically. Maybe try and pick him up. Say, hey man, you've been our best player here this tournament.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say. And not only in terms of what he brings to the team, in terms of his mind for the game and how smart he is, but individually he is so damn talented. So let's see. Slow start. Inside of the minute mark. First fight goes the way of Hampus. Speaking of the devil, he shall arise. Kenzie gets caught, but Result will answer back.
Okay, Hampus far enough back away from the nade. I was a little worried for just a second that it might make it towards him, but not the case. What can we do with this 4 versus 4? The AWP dropping back to try and group up. Cypher got to be careful. He's alone with that bomb. That'll be the bomb spotted now on the old mini-map. So what is the move going to be? Big catch from Result onto Hampus. Molotov comes in, but Lackey comfortable in the flames. Fabian can't convert the frag. It's a little close. Nade might do it. He's trying desperately to get out, but there's just nothing coming for him. Aurora with a big win there. And it might just be down to the little things, man. Revealing that bomb a bit ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Bit by bit. That one slightly fell apart. You really do see the Aurora guys get very proactive. Result does back himself a lot in these fights, which is good to see. Such a talented rifler. When he gets going, he's unbelievable. Kenzie getting nice and vocal. It's good to see. They're keeping the vibes high as Aurora the first had to crack in towards double digits. Bleed, buy back in, no issues, but they don't have any long-term econs, so lose this round here without a bomb plant. And that could be not only Aurora finding 11, maybe even 12 with the lack of buyout from Bleed. This is so important.
Yep. Really, really big round here. Hampus at the top end of middle. He's been working mid the past few rounds, just spammed down on the edge of it though. That is most unfortunate, I think it is safe to say. Nade and a Molotov nearly finishes off Lackey, in fact. Favin in the palace once again, waiting for the head to come his way, and he will find it. Looked a little nervy, a little panicked in the previous round, but here, much better. Does get taken out, still even. Oh, but the bomb about to be discovered on the backside. Oh, or is it? He might have missed it in a weird little way. I'm not sure,
you know?
yeah.
I don't think he's seen it.
Feel like he would have chilled by now, but then he is turning back. He might have seen it on his way in. It's tough to say. I feel like he's seen it. Yeah, now he's got control of that bomb. 2 versus 2. Where are these guys right now? Yeah. It's a wacky looking round.
Yeah, now he has seen it. Molotov going to come down as well. He's going to play out just in front of that smoke on the edge of it. And actually going to realize nobody's here. So now it's probably him coming saying, well, they're not here. They're not Ram. I just killed one who was getting the bomb. They've got to be flanking us. And he seemed to be unaware of that possibilities for the moment. But Kenzie
definitely
giving
aware
that back. Yeah. Not a right idea. He would have had these steps as well. Bomb picked up. And actually giving that for free, Kenzie.
Run!
Oh my god, he's swinging into a death, probably, and he will. Nork waiting for exactly that. Now Deco thrust into a 1v2. Bomb going back towards mid, and Deco's read this well. 10 seconds. I don't think they can get towards the site. Now they definitely can't.
Oh man, Deco, right place, right time, cuts them off. A blunder from Bleed that might cost them everything here on Mirage. Oh, nobody went back for that, but nobody considered the fact there could have been a flank in. Sure. That's one of the big things for me that I thought they might read into, that there could be a flank, but a little lackadaisical to recover that bomb, slipping through their fingers.
Tough.
But it is unlucky. It is, you know, that kill we just saw on the replay, the Norvi at the start of the round, you know, it's like, it's going to get in your head, innit? It's going to get in your head, and yeah, Deco, well read with the time for sure. Where else can they go?
Yeah, off the top of my head as well. From ramp, if you run all the way to B, to plant default, 21 seconds. And I think if you go via short, 19. But even, I don't think they would have had enough time regardless. They were 8 seconds.
Yeah,
and they
were
like
halfway up. I think it was like 10.
I don't think they can make it regardless. So, you know, maybe ambitious to say that they can get there. But that's a massive round for Aurora. And it's the one thing I mentioned. Aurora found that round fine, but it's the lack of bomb plant that's killed Bleed here. They just don't have the money. They're going to force though around the orb. Or few upgraded pistols. I hope and I pray I lose this. They lose the map.
Early utility out from Aurora to just keep any kind of rush at bay. Again, big damage done. Not quite the annoying spam this time, but it's pretty close. Jacob feels the burn. What do we do from here? Where do we go from here? The big questions being asked, of course, here on the broadcast as well. Bleed just look to be out of ideas, you know, in this pistol round. Very, very far back. Minute gone almost, and we've not seen much from them. The attempt at the boost is about it. 2 smokes, 3 flashes, and 1 nade. So they got enough util for 1 execute here, and that's it. There's no fakes. They're going to have to go B, and got 2 playing out, a third of Kenzie rotating over as well, and they're actually starting to make moves. They know. They've done their information. They've done their due diligence, but Norvi going to be the first to fall. North's orb rattles off for 1, but Result will answer back. Kenzie gets flashed off the corner, so they're allowed to drop out of sight, and they punish. Oh man, it's Result though that remains alive at Get Right. Onto the USB, the pistol battle's coming around. He will eventually lose his head as he gets caught up in the fight, in the scrappage. Hampus close to the action here. Will take the head of Lackey. And Bleed have pulled a round out.
Saving.
They've taken a leaf from the Aurora book. Get that aggression, burst your way through, and you might just get the better of them. Here we go.
Did he get one at the end? He did. Deco sees off Jacobs. At the very least, he keeps it a little bit expensive, but all in all, that's a really good round for Bleed to be taken, and an absolute necessity as well. A force buy around the orb, and a real hope and a prayer. It does work out for them. Deco keep out of his orb. I question what the buys going to look like as well now over towards Aurora. I mean, these rounds have been relatively expensive. That's a dip in towards their pockets, at least. quite a bit to kind of facilitate buys, so they might actually not have enough to work with finance-wise. It might be a similar thing where they just play around the AWP, but it's a question of do they force? We're looking at attack pause before we get there to converse about exactly that point. This is game on though. It's Bleed to call for another attack pause. It's Kassad again getting active, getting vocal, speaking to the team here. We can see it from above, and good opportunity as well for maybe Brain trying to do the same, but it looks like it's going to be just pistols to work with. Kenzie not a happy fella off the back of that one. They are going to force the Aurora. MP9, upgraded pistols, and not a hell of a lot of util to work with here around that one saved AWP. So a lot of the pressure on Deco here to make something work. They lose this, it might be a tie game.
It's true. It's very, very true. And emotions running high, you can see. But yeah, they not very kind to the desks from time to time. The Aurora boys. Yeah, it's, you know. I get it. I get it. At least it's not the monitor. Lackey will move forwards. Resol backing him up as well. Force buy looks good. The bomb's been spilled. And it has all maybe come down to this one. Cypher, the next to go, and Bleed, despite the chats, despite the big ups, sometimes there is just a whirlwind that comes your way. That punch in the face catches them with their pants around their ankles. The bomb, as I say, was that first thing, and you can see it comes early, so the Aurora lads are all able to group up. They've got 2 smokes left.
Yeah. And
this
also,
looks pretty good.
Guns picked up too.
Yeah, man.
It's surely unlosable. And also the question, do you risk it as well, right? There's not a lot of money still over towards Bleed. Yes, they went around, but about the consistency. Vulnerable, gonna give it a go here. Hampers trying. Now another smoke comes down. He might actually be able to pick up the bomb here, though. That's the only issue.
Oh. Or will he? Or will he? That's the wall, broke. That's the wall. That's not a player. That's still the wall. Still knifing the wall.
It's a good idea, though.
It kind of scares him off a little bit, I suppose, yeah. And I mean, if he does run into it, at least you know. But he's got the bomb. He's got the bomb. Oh, wait a minute. Check for Lackey. No, he's not going to check Sandwich. Oh, man, that's so tough. Nork is left to kind of do it all, and he maybe doesn't fancy his chances. He's heard a player coming in behind him as well, but Norvi plays the mind games, drops back, gives the position up, and draws Nork towards him. 10 seconds remaining. Doesn't matter if he gets his kill or not, which he won't. The round is over. Aurora, the first to hit 12.
That's tough. That is really tough. It's a really, really good pop that comes through in towards ramp, right? The first guy finds a kill with a 5-7. Second swings with the MP9 to get basically deny the trade here. And it's a flash from Kenzie, if I'm right in saying, that comes over. And it just gives Lackey all the work with. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant round. In that low buy, it was a force coming through, so Aurora all chips to the middle of the felt for them in that one. They had to win it. Or else basically Bleed are given a red carpet to tie this game up. And now they're denied. Final round potentially off the map here. You got 1 Galil, no 2 Galils, may I say. Double Deagle, P250, and the smallest amount of util. You got 1 smoke, 1 nade. It's a hope and a prayer here, it has to be said. Coming through. Let's see whether Bleed have got something in their pocket. Can they get another eco?
Maybe. I mean, it's the question, isn't it, really? Time going to tell on this one. A very, very slow start in from Bleed. I think they'll be frustrated at the way that things have panned out.
Palace Popper thinking they might go for it. They've got 1 smoke left to work with.
Oh, Deco! Nearly lines them up a no-scope. What are you saying? How is that a no-scope? Okay, it's looking good for the rest of the team all the same. The game feels to be over here unless Mr. Hampus can pull off the impossible. Clean onto the second. He'll back away, find himself an M4, but he gets overwhelmed in the back. 13-2-9. And Aurora have done it in relatively clean fashion. Mirage goes their way, as to be expected. Deco fans around the world rejoice. And we have, of course, a second map coming up. Before that, we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the desk.
Was it Deco?
I have no fucking clue.
I think it was Deco.
I heard Dinko.
Dinko, I love you.
It's like starts calling script Dinko.
Yeah, there's resemblance there. Yeah,
I can see it. I can see it. A performance coming through from Aurora, really taking that one home, but I'll be honest, in the middle of it, it did feel like Bleed just let go of the pedal a little bit as well. Neo, what was happening there?
I mean, you have to look at it, and I think it was a similar thing, you know, a pretty poor start, 6-1 down. I think the same thing that we saw in that second map against the Mongols. They just take a little bit too long to get active. The one thing I will say for Bleed, they've definitely changed up how they approach Mirage. You saw it against Chinggis Warriors, a little bit rough, the setups weren't great. You saw yesterday against Mongols, they got absolutely battered. They changed up a few positions, changed up the way they approach it. It looks pretty good.
They're changing things up, Script, sure, but at the same time, you know, I was watching out from the arena floor, right? So maybe I'm missing the finer details. Maybe you can illustrate that for me, because whenever I see them in this 3 versus 3 situation, I'm seeing them in the anti-4 spice. It felt like they were giving up so much, and in the end, it just was too much.
Yeah, there's maybe a few players in there, I think, in particular, are not super comfortable. Faven looks like he's not really enjoying himself, whether that's, you know, on the stage with the pressure, whether that's just the way that they're playing around on Mirage. You know, he's a bit of a gap filler.
Sure.
I think they're wanting to, as Neo says, change things up a little bit. So there's a few players in there that are maybe not as comfortable. I think that Jacob kind of looks like another one for me, at least on CT side. On the T side, wanting to take a few more resources, right? But then you've got players like Cypher, you've got players like Nork that also need it. So they're still working that out.
But let's bring up the scoreboard as well while we do it. It'll help illustrate your point a little bit better, because the numbers are important, but the words from you are even more so. Script, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the way that things pan out. I mean, I didn't really feel or notice in the game that Cypher didn't perform so well, and the 9 kills out from him. Maybe again down to that sort of CT side not going so well. This is something that we touch on, we talk about, he recognizes. He's all about that T side, you know. If he could get 20 rounds of T side play, I think he'd be a happy man.
Let's not talk about Cypher as much, because what I find interesting is Nork and Norby, because now I had some of my numbers open up over there as well. We had both of them getting 6 opening kills and only losing at 1 apiece. Both Nork and Norby were going insane for both of their teams.
Yeah, I think the difference though with Nork is he would get kills, but nothing would happen off the back of it. Whereas at least for Norby, he would play a lot of contact positions. I mean, I was in 3 different rounds on that T side for Aurora. Contact out off the back of Norby. He really impressed from him, man. I think he was so good, and he actually allowed for individuals to get activated. Result had less impact maybe than usual, but because of Norby doing a lot of the legwork, a lot of the mileage on those T rounds, they were really able to get going. But I think obviously Deco, right? That was the story. This guy was unbelievable. That Deagle round, they might have lost it, but
let's talk about Deco in a second, because we've got the player of the match, and I have a feeling it's going to be Deco.
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if it was. Let's be honest, he was just absolutely fantastic. So many incredible rounds coming through from him overall. So yeah, let's wax lyrical, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a player that ultimately for me looks very solid at this tournament, despite, you know, being a little bit ill yesterday, late in yesterday, played the last game of the day as well, and still looks absolutely fantastic. He's a consistent factor for them most of the time. Sometimes can have a few weaker performances online. Maybe that is because he gets ill there. You never know, man. But ultimately, I think he's sort of that constant stoic factor, not very loud, not very vocal. You've got a couple of the players like Resol, like Kenzie, that get really loud and kind of sometimes when the rounds go a bit negative as well, they're sort of loud the other way, as it were. But someone like Deco, like, he's going to get 2 kills, he's not going to argue with you, he's going to do what you ask of him, and he will do it well, you know, and the fact that he's on the AWP for that is just absolutely perfect,
but at the same time, we were expecting Nork to be the kind of player who can really take it to Deco, and it felt like even if Nork was getting it done, it wasn't to the same extent. Anything that we have on our mind before we get into the next map, Neo, what does Bleed need to change if we want to see a third over here?
I think, you know, for me, actually, the one big thing that I saw the difference was, throughout this tournament for Bleed, they've relied very heavily off Hampus, right? But, you know, CT side, they're making Hampus a B anchor, so he's not really in the thick of it, where at least when he was playing the other day, he was playing out via A, so a little bit more in the thick of it. They've changed up positions. I think they just need to give Hampus the resources. They need to get... I know maybe Favon looked a little bit uncomfortable. Cypher didn't have as much impact as he usually would, especially on those T sides. Just give Hampus everything he needs. He is going to be your win factor. He has been the win factor every single game that Bleed have had so far. So I think for me, if I'm Kassad, if I'm Bleed, I want to make Hampus as clean as possible. He was 6 and 13 up until deep CT half. He only got going with multi-kills in the last like 4 rounds. And by then it's too little too late.
And the question is, will it be enough for Hampus to now be activated going into Ancient? Obviously an incredibly important piece of the puzzle, but Bleed still have a lot of jigsaw pieces to get together if they want to take this to a third. For now though, we're taking it to a break. We're going to be back with the next one very soon. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be getting even more exciting.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I think it was like usual, like everyone else. I was just playing PUBG games, and I was like scouted by Overdrive, and he invited me to Academy team. And thank you, Overdrive. I was just playing PUBGs, nothing special, face it, like everyone did, and I was playing some CS hubs, and Overdrive scouted me. I played some qualifications, some LAN events in Moscow, so he invited me in an organization with like salary, so that was my first team. After this I was like playing low tier CIS teams like Extreme, VP Prodigy, and after this I was invited to Trident with Sist, and after Trident it was Forza, and now it's Aurora. 4 years ago, I guess. Ethereal it was. I don't think I have some like unique style. Pretty much what I'm doing is like listening to our coach. He's telling me everything what to do in game, so I'm just saying what he's telling me to do. Lucky, he's like, we call him Kazakh because he's crazy. Kensi is star player, like Deco, like silent killer. He's not talking, he's just killing people. And the result, he's a young guy with insane aim. I think the biggest change was like mechanics. From like, it's different from CSGO to CS2. Maybe because of tick rate, maybe because it's still not very comfortable compared to CSGO, because in CSGO we were playing like 4 or 5 years and it was like comfortable for us. And CS2 only released a year ago or maybe less. So our transition was pretty easy, I'd say. We were like on the same level in CSGO and now we're on the same level in CS2, but we are trying to get better. For now, I think I still prefer CSGO, because even now watching clips of CSGO, you see that game is just better than CS2 now. But if CS2 gonna be like fixed, all bugs, tick rate, so I think I would prefer CS2. I think near's goal is like not to disband, and our aim on this tournament, I'd say just play good CS, and we will see what it will give us. Maybe win, maybe like top 4, but I just hope not the last place. From Europe, I think it's Gaming Gladiators and OG, and from Asia, it's Mongols. Because like Gaming Gladiators were playing good recently, maybe in the last 2-3 months, on the major and after the major. OG is just like OG, it's always like strong opponent. And Mongols, it's like team who is playing tier 1 in tournaments, playing good against tier 1 teams, so I'm really excited to play against them. I think in Europe it's more like job relationships, I think, and people are like more professionals than in Russian teams, because in Russia we are mostly like trying to be friends with each other, being open, and it's showed in games that we are playing, I'd say, more freely CS, because I don't know, it's just like it always been, like everyone's saying that Russia is crazy in game, especially on Mirage. I haven't been yet here on Arena, so I don't know what to expect, but I just hope to play CS. Hope someone will watch. Cheer for Mongols.
Red Bull gives you wings.
It is my first time in Mongolia. I haven't been there for too long yet, but so far I'm pretty happy with, the hotel is good, the weather has been good, and yeah, everything is good so far. I mean, the main thing I want to do in Mongolia is to win this tournament. I made the decision to join Bleed pretty fast. I know they have quality players, they have a quality coach, and I just wanted, to kind of work with Kasad again. He said good things about all the people in the team, so that is the main reason. And I think settling in is going pretty well. They're fitting me in pretty well. From 1 to 10, I will probably rate it at like 3 maybe, because we have had no time, no practice almost. We played officials before we came here. I think I have high expectation because I know we're skilled. I think maybe we can shoot our way through the tournament and maybe even win it. But we're not like super prepared. I think last LAN I played was still Melbourne, I think. I played in the arena there. Arena is what every player is playing for, Playing in front of a crowd is special, and it doesn't matter where in the world you're playing. So, I expect us to go to the arena, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty confident we're gonna win, just because I believe in the team's ability to win. I haven't seen too much, but I have coaches and analytical people that will take care of that. I think the biggest difference is the tactical aspect. I think the Asian teams can shoot just as good as all the European teams, if not even better. But I think the Europeans are a little bit ahead when it comes to the tactical department. From Asia, it's for sure Mongols. They have been playing pretty well recently. I've seen a lot of good results in Europe, fighting versus the best teams. And I would say the biggest rival from Europe is probably Aurora. I hope they cheer for us. Of course, understand that, versus Mongolian teams or even Asian teams, they will probably cheer for the other team, but, I hope that we can win the crowd.
Welcome one and all back to Bleed versus Aurora. Aurora taking that first map, of course. Of Mirage, it was their pick. It has been a pain point for the Bleed side in this tournament thus far. But now we move on to Ancient, which for me may well have come not as a huge surprise, don't get me wrong, but it felt like Bleed have been leaning more on the Anubis. Have they put it as the decider here because Aurora, pretty comfortable team on Anubis themselves? There was actually a period in time where they were pretty hot on this map.
Yeah.
We don't rightly know, we're not in the heads of the players, but we've got Ancient, we know that much for free.
I think this is one of those things where it's just, you know, a bit of a handshake, bit of a gentleman's agreement that Anubis is a map they both like, and they're more than happy to kind of float that. That Ancient now, for me, is a big kind of talking point, though, because Aurora, especially in the past, have actually been quite scary on this map. This is a map in which you see a hell of a lot of Wrestle. Wrestle gets very, very active. Kenzie's a great kind of aggro CT side player. He's one of those guys I've seen him get very active over towards Shell, very active pushing down ramp over towards that B site. So for me, I'm looking at this Aurora side to see how they approach this. This is a map in which they have played before. They've played to a very decent level. We've caught them a hell of a lot of times online, and they've been able to put on some pretty decent numbers on it. So for Bleed, I think, you know, no matter where they go, there's a risk in the pool, because Aurora have a pretty fleshed out map pool as it goes, but I think Ancient is one of those maps that, at least from recent recollection, I've seen them play some pretty decent Counter-Strike on. So we'll have to see how things pan out when we get in towards the game. As you can see, we have a little bit of a PC issue, so hopefully we can get things underway in just a second. I'm going to assume it's Kenzie, and he's got his headphones off. But here we go. This is how the veto kind of panned out for those who maybe missed it a little bit earlier. Vertigo and Dust2 banned out, fair enough. Mirage, then Ancient, and of course, if we need it, Anubis is our decider. So this for me, very, very important. I feel this this Ancient. It kind of feels like make or break.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, man. It's a very, very important one for Bleed. Definitely should be taking this. Again, coming in with a few different moves into the consolidation final. Yesterday was a tough one, a learning curve, and indeed not the nicest of experiences, I'm sure, for the team. Aurora, another hard squad, especially on LAN. One that Bleed, again, could be beating.
Yes.
Maybe at the start of the tournament I could have said should be beating, but I think that as things have panned out, Bleed not looking their online selves, let's say, when it comes to these arena games in particular.
Big thing about this map pick as well is that Aurora have played it twice this tournament. They beat Lin Vision, actually, both times on it. So one of those, of course, was in the arena yesterday, so we got to see them on a LAN environment put up some good numbers, and that's the thing for me where it's maybe a little bit of a risk. 13-10 that one was. So for Bleed, we'll have to keep an eye on it. Like we said, inherently, wherever you go against Aurora, there is a bit of a risk in the veto. There's no real kind of strong weaknesses on them, bar maybe Dust2, but it's not a map in which Bleed like to play. It's their permaban right now. I think every other map really does open up. They maybe could have made decisions about looking elsewhere, like a nuke, but again, another map in which Aurora play a hell of a lot. They play so much Counter-Strike, they've got so many reps, there's no two ways about it. They are a team with considerably more experience right now, so we'll have to see how things pan out for them. Bleed, this is a good map for them. They played it 26 times in the last 3 months, so, you know, they ain't shy on reps, and of course, one of those was against Atox. They beat them pretty handedly, so yeah, there's decent signs there, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling a little bit worried. Aurora just looked like a little bit of a cleaner side earlier.
It is true. The one step ahead, as we talked about, very, very comfortable, regardless of environment. At the end of the day, they've looked great. But we'll see here moving forwards if they can keep that up. Again, different environment, but as you mentioned, things looked pretty good for them against Lin Vision. Might not have been the smoothest, easiest Ancient, particularly yesterday, but they will manage to get things done, and yeah, we'll see what happens here today. Again, a team just sort of going with the flow, and I think they'll remain confident in their ability. They'll be looking down the barrel, they'll be ready for this grand final appearance, and getting realer and realer, closer and closer. Very, very excitable time for Aurora.
For sure, for sure. Hopefully we get this PC issue fixed as soon as, but for now, we are left waiting as we get underway, hopefully in just a mere moment. If we need it, we have that Anubis as the map number 3, and that one does, like we said, it feels like a bit of a gentleman's agreement. It's a map which they both really like. It's a map which they played a hell of a lot online, both of these two sides, and you know, they're very comfortable on it. It's a map in which they're more than happy to pick into, sometimes when it's open, depending on the veto itself. So That one, if we get there, would be interesting. But this is for all the marbles, right? This is winner booking their spot into that best of 5 at grand final later on today. The loser eliminated in 3rd place. Still a top 3 finish is not bad at all for us. We had Bleed as the favourites over Aurora, generally speaking. This is before the tournament when we did our rankings, but at the moment, Aurora found themselves 1 map away.
It is true. It is true, man. But, you know, that top 3, that top 4, but definitely the top 3 of this tournament felt pretty interchangeable. It all depended on what version of Bleed, how comfortable Mongols would be, whether Aurora could translate onto LAN as well. You know, was Melbourne a bit of a fluke for them? Potentially a tournament that they should have won there as well. Actually, looked very, very good throughout that tournament and just not able to do so. But I don't know, man. They've looked pretty good at the Nomadic Masters. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Aurora maybe set to continue that.
If they were to play off against Mongols as well, it does open up a couple of questions, right? That would, for me, on a best of 5, when that kind of veto opens up a little bit, feels like maybe a really decent chance, right? This is an Aurora side who have kind of heated up as the tournament has kind of gone along. They've really started to find their form, ladies and gents. It looks like everyone's getting ready. Headphones are going on. It looks like we're about to get underway in towards our map number 2. It is Ancient on your screens here. It's Aurora take on Bleed. Aurora have scalped map number 1. And they're looking to make it 2-for-2. Fighting towards mid already. Hampers under a bit of pressure. Does deal a ding. Takes a tag. He'll fall away. It's Bleed starting on that T side. Aurora on the CT.
So Aurora probably going to have to retake in towards the B-bomb site here as they have conceded it with that mid push ultimately. Bomb plant a little paused for now. It's Deco that comes around with a 2-piece, not getting 2 of his own before being dealt with. All over the place here, but Kenzie has closed the gap on the bomb planter. It's all going to be down to Hampus, who they know is quite far away. Deco gets on that bomb, 10 seconds on the full defuse here and should be able to deal with Hampus. They do indeed. Aurora will take the pistol, again, despite Bleed maybe having an early upper hand.
Very good start for Aurora. Very aggro. I kind of like it, right? They go fighting in towards mid. 3 of them make their way down there. One takes a dink, but bar that, it's a pretty seamless fight. And then they just wrap their way on towards the B side itself, and it works wonderfully. Nork nearly gave them a chance. That double kill did open the door there, but it was shot right back in their face. So, first round for Aurora is good. Bleed, of course, with a bomb plant. We'll get a buyout here. So an AK-47 and a couple of good pistols are at least brought to the table. And a hell of a lot of util, in all fairness, which I respect.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can make this work. Obviously going to have some deeper game plans on Ancient. Lots and lots of utility ready to go over the line. They will burst in through lane and maybe continue up. I think Cypher definitely wanted to, but it will be called off. Meanwhile, 4 already here from Aurora. Incredibly prepared. They will pull off some aggression of their own, so this could get messy fast.
Novi finding Nork. Here's the start already. As Nork falls, he's left impactful in this round. It could come through, and Jacob actually drops Novi. At the very least, it's not bad. Tempted to re-aggression towards Ramp here. And it's Kenzie who gets caught by Cypher. These double AKs getting active. They're getting pretty vocal in the round as they find a kill apiece. There's a chance here. Numbers favour Bleed.
Only just though. 45 seconds. Noise being made. Gun recovered. Got to be able to do something with this now. Cypher just holding behind. They'll swap the M4 into the hands of a healthier player and maybe break out onto the site via Cave. Lackey goes half checked. Oh, but they line up for Deco. He'll make that work. The little bait and switch leaves Hampus all alone, and Cave has fallen apart. Not good, but Aurora not over just yet. Result was right there to get it done. And Aurora will secure that second. Bleed again, another kick themselves moment.
Timing excellent, it has to be said as well. In that 1v2, they just play it perfectly. They know they're not coming through excavation. They know he's probably somewhere on towards site. And a simple trade, Deco, lovely double down from him, it has to be said as well. And it gives them all that they want and that they need to make it 2 for 2. Very, very important. And they know how much that means as well. Getting around like that will hurt Bleed, Econ, will hurt the confidence on the T side of Ancient. No real buy to work with in towards this one. 2-0 start, should be made 3. And already Aurora continuing how they finished off in towards Mirage.
Oh, Jacob. Up above, it's a little weird, but as it starts to go down, he might get better vision. He definitely will in just a moment. But it escapes him. It escapes him. A good spot from Lackey, and then he goes creeping in. Okay. So that's a little overzealous, one might argue, and it does give Bleed the advantage.
Well, Bleed 4v5. It was eerily quiet with a minute on the clock. To make a move as well, so we're going to come through. Deco going to find one, make that 2. That's brilliant from Deco. Cypher will answer back, and Cypher makes it 2. Hang on a second, round on until Kenzie looks to bring it back. No bomb plant just yet. They still got time. A smoke down could allow a plant, but it's a tap, it's a fake, it's a bait out a fight, and they're not being given it.
Yeah, it's for Hampus on that backside. However, Norvi, no, little savvy. He was back turned, however, baits the peak and it's all good. Favin doing a good job of backing up his man, sees what he is cooking. They'll get that smoke down. Kenzie spamming away, nearly gets the boat, and he will! Oh my goodness! Can you believe what you've just seen through the smoke? Kenzie saves the round for Aurora.
Oh, the arena love that one. Here in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, in the Step Arena. They're actually big fans of Aurora, it seemed, as well, with the little cheers coming into it. And that one, nice to see. Cypher gave them a really good opportunity, but Kenzie brings it back. Bit of fortune, bit of favour. He'll take it every day of the week. Beautiful work. And Resso, as surprised as we were.
Yeah.
3 for 3 for Aurora. Lead back into the bye. Maybe bar Hampus.
Yeah, it might have been the man dropping that hero AK in the previous round, I suppose, so it would add up, quite literally, with the maths. Hard to do in your head, easier when you've got it on the screen, of course. So Hampus sticking on this Deagle. Decent amount of utility for him is the trade-off. May well have been able to go for a Galil, but not here, not today. Jacob first one to fall. Aurora in their stride, immediately out of the gate on Ancient.
They don't want to allow Deco and their AWP to get active, right? It's just the biggest thing. He had an incredible map number 1, but Cypher and Favon will combine. Resso at least keeps the numbers level. And B9 on one side, a Deagle on the other. They've got a fairly decent amount of kind of spacing via mid here. No one's fighting for this. They're playing 2 over towards B1 via Donut. And Aurora are going to give them a lot of space. They actually want to bait them in towards fights here as Resso dances between the 2 angles. The only issue for me is there's not a hell of a lot of util for Aurora. Retakes might be difficult.
Slow encroachment up middle. About to burst open, though. Hampus with a big find. And now they pick up the pace. Where are they going to end up? It doesn't really matter, you know. Both bomb sites has got 1 player apiece unless they can thread the needle towards B, but it looks like they're going A. In fact, Deco then, his hour, his moment. We'll see what he can find. Revealed in behind big box, and a nice move from Hampus to catch him off. Just Kenzie all alone. Going to run into some resistance, and he runs into the business end of an AK. A little bit of work, but Bleed will find it.
Good round, really good round from Bleed as well. It's a good pause called there by Hampus, right? The initial kind of fight comes through. They give it an opportunity back in towards the round when it goes down to the 3 versus 3, and they just wait. Hampus says, I'll do it, I'll crack it open. That's exactly what happens. Really good tail end from him. 3 kills to see off that round in the 3 versus 3, and Hampus doing exactly what we asked of him on the desk. We said, give him the facilities, give him everything. Let this guy succeed, because he has been the most important player for Bleed so far this tournament. And that's time to do exactly that. Everything utilized by the IGL, and effectively, look at the buy now out for Aurora. MP9, a few upgraded pistols. They forced in, but they've not brought a lot to the table. Oh my god, he gets 1, but only.
What's the response going to be from Bleed then to roll things back around? It's Hampus quietly up the ramp. Not all the way, but, you know, Lackey could walk into his crosshair quite easily here. Ooh, it's a little tense in this round. I think Bleed especially need to secure this one. They know that Aurora are capable of converting these force buys. Jacob digs in a bit deep, and he will lose his life. He's also only spotted 1 out. Really? Norvi for another. We're not quite over just yet. He gets traded out. However, I look at Result, and I see half HP bars. It's not out of the realms of possibility.
5-7's doable, and now there's guns to work with. AK-47 and a smoke. Now we're talking.
Rolling round. Spots the back of a player. That's all taken out by Nork, denied away the big opportunity.
There was a chance, there was. Not to be though. And a force buy, not converted by Aurora, will break the econ a little bit, so it gives Bleed an opportunity now to start finding a bit of form early in towards this game. They can probably get all the way up to a 3-all scoreline, tie it up. It was close, made pretty expensive, and that's the big thing for Aurora. That is the one silver lining, I guess you can take away. Down to just 2 players. Nork so low, so lucky to stay alive in that engagement, but a nice shot from him. 3-2. Bleed probably get a pretty comfortable third here. Jacob in trouble. Oh no, he's fine. Nork, hampers, and it's seen off with ease. A flawless round for Bleed. Nice and simple.
A little close on a couple of them though, to be fair. So, you know, could have lost a player or a weapon.
Sure.
And that's not what you want to be doing in rounds like that. Aurora, a few worried faces there, so they do have to recover things back quickly, not allow them in. Scary, scary look here for Bleed as they picked up some momentum. I like the buy from Aurora. They have to keep things fresh. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, get some mid-aggression going, but there's nobody on that receiving end, so what do they do when they discover that elbow is completely clear? At the same time, Bleed are quickly moving towards A.
Making the way in here. They're going to get all of this for free early. Result up close, the right idea. Wrong execution though, Cypher going to rip his head off. At the very least, that's a good spot response where Cypher gets a kill, bomb goes down, and actually now I think if you're Aurora, you kind of got to call for a save here. I don't really blame them. We're looking at this and saying, can they retake the site? Probably not. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It does get away from you sometimes, right? It's actually, I would argue, the first of the saves that we've really seen from Aurora. I'm trying to cast my mind back. There might have been 1 or 2 on Mirage. Really not an awful lot.
None of that kind of caliber, right?
Yeah, for sure, right? Immediately calling it definitely not. So, kind of fair. It's astute from them. It has to happen. They'll lose another player in the interim. Maybe a bit more as well if they're not careful. Kenzie getting kind of greedy. Norby should survive here with the smoke going down, but nonetheless, not as healthy. They would have had 4. They ended up with 2.
Yeah, kind of overfighting at the end there, and it will, at the very least, make this buy-in towards the next a little bit harder. If you have 4 alive, no issues. 3 alive is fine, but 2? Now we have to question, is loss bonus enough for them to facilitate at least a strong buy? They might have to dip in towards MP9s and Famasters, which Aurora aren't scared of doing so. Yeah, we are going to see a few upgraded pistols. An M4, an MP9, that's really all they've got to work with. Not great, that's 4 in a row now for Bleed. Very decent. T-side on the gun rounds.
Oh my, they are so blind in the middle. Jacob capitalizing and getting the isolated Lackey down. Deco does answer. Still 2 bodies in towards that donut area as well, looking to get a bit giddy, but nobody else from Bleed presenting. The bomb itself is headed towards B. There's a push round from the 5-7, and he will get the better of Nork. That's the bomb going to be dropped as well. They are split around the map. Such a weird looking game state for Bleed, I suppose. Favin wins his fight. Jacob's got to win his, but now he has 2 to get through. Can't get it done.
That's it.
Oh, Favin goes down. I mean, Cypher could do it. They're going to be ready for him, but are they ready for him that fast? Yes, they are. And a huge steal from Aurora.
Coming through, 1 rifle, 1 MP9, a few upgraded pistols, and winning that round is monstrous. That'll change things. It was 4 in a row from Bleed, and they're looking pretty good on their T-side of Ancient, and that will at least pump the brakes a tad. Tie game once again. And with that sort of a buy converting, that's a cracking shot, has to be said as well, from Kenzie. Really good work, all in all. Now this game opens right back up. So, thankfully, I guess I believe they buy back in, no issues. Open play for Nork and all the extremities they would want. Now on the other side, Deco's got his, and we know how good he was map 1.
You can feel it immediately quietens down, you know what I mean? Like Aurora not really employing the same kind of round, going for something a bit different here. The A-main push. It's got perfect timing. Favin, you got to feel for him. Just looking a little nervy though. What is the reason to get off that angle, you know, and change up? Maybe if they were moving away, I kind of get it, but he just changes to the other side of the pillar. It's like, nah, man, you gotta stick so you don't get timed on. Jacob caught by the A4. Whoa! Tip of the head, but Lackey's the one to win it out. Now just 2 remaining. They've both chimed in, but they've got a bomb to recover. They're lacking HP, they're lacking teammates. Cypher trying to get in behind and be a bit cheeky here, but not looking likely. Molotov,
Ticked.
tiny bit of damage, but yeah, it confirms the location is the big thing. Norvi holding the backside. They are acutely aware. Timing as Cypher makes a step should be good here, but Cypher doing what he does, finding the heads back into the 2v2. Definitely not out of the question, man. Where's Hampus? When's he coming? Is this setup going to be good enough from Aurora? It's kind of done on the fly at the end of the day. Cypher does go down, and Hampus falling next. Works well for Aurora in the end.
Yeah, I love to see it. Aurora just get aggro. And like you said, I think the Bleed, they're just caught a little bit off guard. They didn't expect that level of aggression. They didn't expect that kind of pace. And they just weren't ready for something of that regard. And I mean, look what it's done for them. Right, it's going to give them a lot to work with. Paul's going to be called here. Kassar getting vocal once again. Very much needed, right? 4 in a row from Bleed. They were giving themselves a lot to work with. And now, winning that is big. You can see Kenzie Resol very happy with it. They know it's a massive thing. Kassar speaking to Hampus, wants to try and give his IGL a lot more to work with. Cypher had a bit of a slow game in towards map 1 as well. They do need him. Very reliable when he gets going, but when he's quieter, you can kind of really notice that Bleed lack that sort of firepower.
He will blame himself a lot for yesterday, I think, in the way that it went. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's something that may well be affecting things coming into today. Trying to overcompensate, maybe, you know, whenever in the minds of the players, we only gather so much from what happens within the game. Aurora, really great spot for them right now, especially if they can win this one. They break the back of Bleed, threatening that 8-4. Orp is drained. Oh my goodness, that is an absolute joke, and they're really not expecting them in so fast, but Cypher doesn't find the kill, and the setup looks good. Norby's here to help out alongside the Orp. Comes in for 3. They've got the weight of the world on their shoulders to win this one, Bleed. Jacob creeping round with that bomb. If he goes down, round is absolutely over. Flash ineffective. It's all down to Hampus, but he's going to find 2. Nearly spams down the 3rd. Just him and Result. 2 of the bigger names that have all the eyeballs on them. The bomb at the feet of Result. Maybe he can make this work. The creep round inside the smoke. Hampus just ready and waiting. And Result's going to look away, but he checks back. And he will indeed spot him out. Huge find from Result and a huge denial for the Bleed clutch.
There's a steal there as well from the youngster. New boy on this team, and he's been delivering in a really, really high regard. And that time in the 1v1, he just had to keep aware. I was worried he was going to look down towards ramp and get it wrong. But he didn't. Very well done. Norv even getting 2 there is actually quite impressive. Lackey maybe should have got the 2nd, but in the end, all that matters is they win. Round taken. At the bare minimum, a tied game at the turn of the half. This is a really good spot to find yourself in. Half bite coming through here for the Bleed side. You got 1 hero AK, a few upgraded pistols. Not an overcommittal in the penultimate round of the half, but Aurora, good chance here for them. Could find 7, which is a very nice little comfort to have.
Hampus contacting up the B ramp. Could be very, very cheeky indeed. Kensey's going to give it a little look. Oh, perfect timing again. Norby and Kensey, dynamic duo. Rolls off the tongue so well, and they play together so well. Maybe securing another one before it's even really gotten off the ground. Any more presence here? There's an attempt, but yeah, just not really able to get anything done. Flawless, yeah. Almost a kill onto Deco, but flawless is the way that we will remember it. Up to 7, gaining a lead at the turn of the half.
It's big. It's really big. 7 guaranteed for Aurora on your opponent's map pick. On the arguably the more favourable CT side, it has to be said, but they have a chance, right? If they get 8 here, and 8-4 is a pretty damning first half of Counter-Strike, and this is exactly what we saw. You know, we saw against the Mongols that Bleed on Anubis did get active, and then they really started to make a conversation out of that, but it was too little too late, and 8-4 might warrant the same sort of notion. We'll have to see, but it's got AK-1 Galil by. The one thing I worry about is they've got a lot of util. They can't really afford to fake all that much. They've kind of got to commit whenever they drop it. Molotov will come deep in towards excavation. They're going to get that space, but at least for now, they're not going to take it.
Oof. Jacob, heck of a shot there. Looking for a little more as Favin leads the charge. Oh, goodness gracious. Gun's making a difference on that one, but Cypher will absolutely take it. 4-3. Can Aurora recover things back? Deco hidden at middle. Dangerous, dangerous swing, my guy. Felt like he had to do something. Immediately traded. Maybe it's Resol on the AWP. Not a look that you expect very often, but a guy that looks so comfortable in this environment. Keeps on going, brings it down to the 1v1. Not going to secure it himself. He's left it in the hands of Norvi.
Norvi usually is all the Bianca. That's why Jacob's looking over in that direction. Norvi's playing the mind games. Well, so's Jacob. He's not committed just yet. Bomb collected. He makes his way back down mid. 35 seconds as Jacob going to move back over towards B. He's read Norvi like a book here. These mind games being played by a very experienced, very tenured rifler in that of Jacob. And he will get a bomb plant, an open plant too. Norvi got a long old rotate. He's got a smoke, got a nade, and he's got a kit.
Yes, indeed, it's that kit that makes kind of the decision to just stick around on A. Oh, all part of it. Jacob going for the fight. Dink does land, but it's a tiny, tiny bit of damage. He might think he's lower than he actually is. We'll see how he opts to play it then. Smoke down, spamming away, comes so close, the bullets whiz past Jacob, not once but twice. Oh my goodness, the time is really ticking. That kit really going to help here with the way that he plays things out. Jacob takes the swing and Norvi denies.
Man alive, Norvi backing himself in the aim duel and he wins it. Jacob, not often you see him in those situations look a little flustered, but he was. Norvi getting mighty close on the spam. And that round getting mighty close in general. 8-4 at the turn of the half for Aurora. That is a very good first half for Counter-Strike. They've really given themselves a massive opportunity to work with here. And you got to look at things and say for Bleed, a pistol round feels like a necessity. They don't find they could be in a lot of trouble. This could be the conversations and the talks about Aurora booking themselves in towards that best of 5 later.
It's getting there. It's getting close, man. It's getting very, very close. They look good for me. They look like they're in control of this map and this series, to be honest with you, is the thing. Yeah. Bleed, there are moments, there are rounds. But it's much more calculated. I think that needs a level of efficacy as a team, a level of practice, you know, is obviously the word here in competitive sports.
Well, we head on the way in towards our second half in just a second. Both Norvi and Deco find themselves 3-0 in opening duels. They've done a lot of work in the early round. Norvi backing himself, right? The IGL. We don't always see him in the thick of it, but so far against Bleed, he's been happy to pug against them, happy to fight. We're not seeing maybe enough out of the bigger names over towards out of Bleed. Nork finds himself 4-8. Cypher hampers Shaken all on 10 kills apiece, but here's Deco leading the charge again. He had 20 odd in map number 1. He's on 12 already here in this first half. He's just been a menace. When Deco has one of these days, one of these games, it's so difficult to stop him.
Yeah, man. And again, like we say, he's looking good. Is he still a bit under the weather? Probably. You know, if you're going to have a map off,
probably,
it doesn't fix itself in a day, does it, to be that kind of ill? So
credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely fair play. A stalwart competitor. Here we go, though. Can Bleed get things going? 4 stacked up on this B bomb site, including some Julies. A kit, a flash, a smoke available and ready to go. Quick kill from Cypher. Looking for a bit more here. Rolling back about a year or so, the Julie efficacy for this man. Nothing to shake a stick at, and there he is, right on cue. Taking 3, leaving it down to just Lackey.
This will be tough. Lackey finds 1, finds 2. Hang on a moment. 1v3. It's not impossible. Bleed are going to give him the respect. Fair enough. 1v3. Lackey. This is not out of the realms of possibility. Hasn't taken a hell of a lot of damage. Has half armor. Has the bomb on his back. There's a world that they can work with something here as he continues to try and isolate fights. 45 seconds and Hampus will see him off. Pistol taken by Bleed, needed as well, and it's all off the back of Cypher. Really good work from him. If he doesn't get those few early and towards ramp, that round could have gone a different way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think, you know, plays very, very well here, but at the end of the day, he's done enough, and the rest of the squad are able to work around. A much-needed round. A much-needed round. I think it cannot be reiterated enough.
Make or break, right? Lose that, I don't think they're going to take the series. Or take the map in the series, right?
Absolutely. So we'll see. Still work to be done. They've got this force buy to get through. They've got the rifles to contend with. But at least the starting block is set and ready to go.
Triple MP9, double M4. Like you said, force buy going to come through those Tech 9s. It can be scary. We've seen a couple of the rounds already. This is a big favorite here in Asian Counter-Strike, and Aurora taking a page out of their books. Lackey finds the first. He gets dinked as well, but the Deagle one-shot headshot. The MP9 not so much. As Favin deals 97 points of damage. Hate to see it. Oh, Kenzie, that reaction is immaculate. And he gets the one tap, but Nork and Jacob combine for one apiece.
Still a doable position for Aurora, right? 3 versus 3. Deco comes round, big kill from him, in fact. Ooh, Lackey gonna fall. He was low anyway, maybe gathering information, we'll see. The big thing is, you know, Resalt's a bit unknown. You'd assume that they're stacked up together. Oh, but they think they're going A. Bleed in their own heads ever so slightly. Aurora really have just kept it simple, not gonna go digging in. Ooh, does spot the head of one. What can he get away with here? Molotov keeps him at bay. They're looking to charge it down and maybe go for the kills. Smoke will come in, but the timing is pretty good from Nork for the double. And yeah, indeed, not planting. Question of the round. Should Aurora have just reset the game there?
Yeah, as really poorly played, has to be said, from Aurora. In that 2v2 situation, you spotted one deep over towards CT. The expectation is either coming through cave on a late timing play, but it's doubtful, or he had a little look over towards B. So why they go for a push there, I do not know. Smoke comes down. They don't give it time to plume, and Nork does really well. 2 kills for him at the tail end. But yeah, Aurora, they should have guaranteed a plant there. They need it financially anyway. That's a weird decision. That should be a priority, not the kills. They will give Bleed an opportunity. That's had 2 rounds in a row, and the force buy gone their way. So Aurora have no money here. This basically should be a 1-round game in just a moment.
Oh, Norvi though, he's saying something a bit different, sir.
Again.
Oh yeah, a little close on the edge of the smoke, but Hampus does find him. What are we going to do with this 4 versus 4 now? The Deagles across the board. Hampus got to be careful. He's getting a little bit giddy, but the kills come in. It's all good. And they are able to keep it together quite nicely. Just going to be down to Kenzie with that bomber.
Yeah, lot to do. Not a lot to work with, in all fairness, for Kenzie. So, on we forward with the Eagle. He's just holding to see whether anybody gets a little bit giddy. He starts to test him. He might actually get one. Potentially a fight in just a moment. They are grouping up around that door. They've got the right idea. So does he. It's a bit of a stalemate here. Main thing is you want to try and go down before time, of course. 45 seconds. As we just whittle down the moments before it's a 7th put on the board by Bleed, and they've opened the door to a conversation here. Kenzie, swing and a miss. And he'll be seen off there. So Bleed, only the 1 casualty. Gonna make this a 1-round game. Buy back in for Aurora, lose this, and they could actually start to lose the lead. There will be a timeout for it as well. Kassar, but you'd probably say mainly Brain to go and get on the mic here.
Well, yeah.
Try and get Aurora back into a winning way and try and kind of activate some of those individuals. Kenzie, Norvi, Deco, etc., want to get them on the scoreboard.
Yep, definitely looking that way. But things are starting to get a bit difficult for Aurora. You know, figuring out where it is going wrong is a big issue for them. T-side are always harder to get rolling. I think that Bleed actually have struggled a bit on their CT sides, at least coming into the arena.
Yeah.
The T sides have generally looked a bit better from them. But, you know, here they're playing a more aggressive sort of style, ready for Aurora. Still early doors, though, in the half itself, right? The gap may have closed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But, you know, things started off well for Bleed in the first half as well. and they couldn't keep it up. So Aurora with the timeout, see what they can make. That's a really good flash. Hampers survived quite a while there, it felt like. All the same, 4v4 still ensuing. Curious now, they've given up mid, and they might just have missed out on the cross, missed out on the info. Deco gonna find Jacob, not looking good. Deco's ready for another one down here as well. Cypher has just thread through though. Oh, and is that bomb? It is.
Oh my God. They're not gonna expect it, there's no way. There's no way. But the only thing with Cypher, he's dancing between two angles. It's a very difficult way to play it. Deco, does he have an idea? This would be huge if he would. No, gonna get caught by Wrestle. Cypher does find Deco though, so at the very least, gets his one, but he's now a known quantity. This is tough.
It's just all on Cypher, it feels like. Faven is so far away from the action. They're really unsure of where Faven's at, I suppose, is the big thing. But yeah, a lot of it is on Cypher. Smoke goes down. It's going to buy some time for Faven to come in from behind. Wrestle is somewhat savvy. Not going to win the fight, though. So 2 versus 2 now, and a bomb still to recover. You know, this pesky bomb drop. Not even the kill for Cypher, just very lucky to get his hands onto it at the end of the day. Molly comes in. Now he can only really be in one spot. Kenzie going to take his head clean off. They've got to get the bomb. They've got to go B. There's really not a lot of time here. Going to be very, very tight, even if they get the quick kill or, you know, Faven hides away or something like that. I don't think there's enough time, really. Faven will get that. He's going to run off after that frag, and that will be the round. No time at all. So well played by Faven in the 1 versus 2.
Brilliantly. And I think, if I'm right in saying, I think Faven might have got a kill right at the end off the time there as well.
Maybe.
Looking back at
maybe that's what that cheers for.
Here,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Might just be, you know, he didn't want to celebrate too early just in case they had managed to get the plant in time.
Yeah, no, it looked like it from at least my position. He was standing over Faven's shoulder. And after the timer went, he did a late celebration. I think he might have got a kill at the tail end here. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Either way, round is a round. Very, very importantly done. And in doing so, Bleed have opened the door here. This map looking good for them. Forlorn faces over towards that Aurora side because they know they're letting this one slip away. An 8-4 half was not good enough. At the moment, Bleed have got a lead. They're now in a position where they can chain it together and start moving towards double digits, moving towards securing quite the advantage. This attack pause is all of Aurora. It's all them trying desperately to reclaim a stake in this game, but this is slipping away. 8-all, and of course no real kind of comfortable buyout for the Aurora side. It's just pistols across the board.
Rushing towards lane here from Aurora, not wasting any time at all, trying to isolate some fights if they can. Cypher, ooh, lucky, he missed a cross there, takes a dink, and they will start to panic rotate across. Getting very, very prepared for a B play, and well, they would be right by the looks of things. Difficult to tell how we're going to play this on the Bleed side. It looks to be a ramp push in, could be dangerous, but they are getting nades out. They are not ready for a push like this. Big kill from Jacob and a slow encroachment backwards. Just take the advantage and run.
Yeah, that's smart. Get a kill, fall away, don't give him anything. The pop flash comes around, Hammer this time doesn't spot anything, and now Deco makes a move, but bit of a smoke, unfortunately, can't really do anything with that. 8-all, and this is a round in which does feel very important. If dipped at least quite heavily in towards the pocket, I mean, because Kenzie, I'm pretty sure, did die off the time, he was forced in double eco. So because of that, he's forced in. They've got a few upgrades around him. He's not going to have a buy-in towards the next round either way. He'd love to get a kill and save a rifle or this round, but both of them feel not the most probable.
25 seconds left for the pistols here, so they're just going to try and, you know, overwhelm a bomb site at the end of the day. Flash comes in, Faven doesn't spot anybody in towards A main. Nork with the first, second as well. He does get taken down, but Faven's got him. Should be a recovered AWP, and it is indeedy. So there you are, Bleed with the round, not letting the easy one slip away.
This game is really starting to look good for Bleed now. Really stepping up in a big way. Norvi getting so vocal as he desperately tries to get this game back on its feet for Aurora, but they can't. They're slipping away. That was a round which, fair enough, I'm not expecting a huge amount out from, but even these low buy rounds previously, Aurora have made them good. This time, not to be. Spy back in. AK's Galil, decent util, but decent damage. Norvik, dead man walking, gets caught. Nork full blind through a smoke headshot, gets all of them.
Exactly what Bleed needed here a little bit, I think, now. You know, they're lacking the look in a lot of their previous maps. Well, it seems to be rolling their way. Aurora getting a bit frustrated, walking through smokes, you know, just barreling in individual plays. The big man left all alone, does get a catch onto Cypher, but surely not much else. Yeah, smoke comes in, going to keep him at bay. It's not the best smoke in the world, but maybe that's part of the idea. Still again, CS2, you know, a slightly dodgy smoke is not as punishable as Go. He's still moving in. I don't know whether he is looking, to save. No, he was just going to try and give it his best go. Bleed looking good, though. Like I say, luck going their way there. And it feels like for the first time, maybe in the tournament, they've had a few clutches go against them that sway games. Just caught on timings. We saw that on the first map, even. Yeah, it's a difficult run, but here on Ancient, things are working out.
Some labor sprays as well there. You can see the Resort one was pretty rough, I guess you could put it. All in all, this is getting tough, but Bleed, they're looking to push this towards Anubis. They're looking to push this towards a third, and no better way as well to have that lower bracket consolidation final. Low bite again. Out for Aurora. They got Lost Parents built up now, I guess is the one caveat, but 8 to 10. They're in trouble. They've got to actually try and convert one of these low-bite rounds if they want a chance. Cypher finds one. Result will fall. He makes it 2, in fact, before he's dropped. But as Jacob will step in to reclaim some space, Nork with an O-scope falls to the hands of the Deco Deagle. Maybe a chance, because this man is an animal. And now he gets his favorite AWP. 1v2. There's a chance.
I worried for a second when you saw that Deagle ringing off, but no real vision for him. These smokes, of course, getting in the way. Both CTs on top of each other. Deco's just going to go for a reposition, of course. The onus on him to get into B, pick up that bomb. But he's going for a hardcore rotation here, it would seem.
Or save, maybe?
Ooh, I don't know, dog. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be in the DNA right now. He's all the way around, just starving the sound cues. 35 seconds thereabouts to get that bomb down, so not going to be good for him, really. And, you know, with the clock winding down. Ooh, Jacob, watch yourself. The flick of the wrist is quick, but it's not accurate enough. Now they know where he's at. 25 seconds. Smoke goes down that they'd held for such a long time.
Yeah,
and he'll save now. There's no way. It'd just be futile.
One of those where for Deco, I think financially they probably could have squeezed out the AWP in towards the next, but why risk that conversation, that chance? 1v2, the second he spotted, he had to isolate into a 1 versus 1 early. Goes for a big flank, tries to make it work, it doesn't. And in doing so, that is going to be Bleed up to 11. A 3-round lead now. They hold over Aurora and 2 away from closing out the map and pushing us towards that of Anubis. This is a good spot, a really good spot that they've put themselves in. Bleed, not only in the server, but actually just mentally look at the better side. You know, we can see the lack of discipline that's starting to creep in to this Aurora side. They're really trying to force it. It's not working. Bleed are a side with a lot of experience, a lot of tenure on this roster, and they will be ready for those sort of quicker plays. And look at that CT side run. 7 rounds in a row. 8 to 4 and nothing since. Aurora's T side has been lackluster, to say the least. And this could be the beginning of the end, really, because they really look out of it. Oh.
Yeah, it's just not happening, is it? Just not happening. Bleed are absolutely running rings around them. That much is evident to me and you and maybe even Aurora.
Yeah.
This one feels like it's going to a third, absolutely. But Aurora ever explosive, ever capable, particularly when Deco and Resol are still in the conversation. Maybe they could pull this one back. But for now, speaking of the word back, they're quite far back, not really all that confident, which is interesting from a squad like Aurora.
Yeah, they really are kind of so momentum heavy, Aurora, and I think at the moment with it against them, they've just in this really big rock. Smoke actually misses there. It's a massive gap. Hampers isn't going to use it to his advantage just yet, but a huge gap is at least on that right-hand side of the smoke. Decker does need to be careful, hence why he's scoping in on it. can play above that, but opting not to. Bomb going to be dropped over as Deco going to try and make some work here. Time ticking though, fellas. 30 seconds to work with. They've got to try and make a move. 3 versus 5, and I don't know. I think if this first engagement goes south, they probably just save again.
20 seconds, I mean, might just save now.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Resol will find a kill. You've got 14 seconds, blokes. This is really not a lot of time at all. Norvi going to go down through the smoke. They seem to be committing. If there's no one here, if we can get away with it, maybe we do.
Oh
Deco gets one through a smoke. Oh, they've just about managed to get the bomb down, you know. We'll see. 3 on 2, it's a bit panicked, isn't it? There's low HP bars for the Bleed squad. This is a big fight, but it goes the way of Hampus. Deco all alone then, up against 3 with the AWP. What can he get done? It's only 1. Couldn't recock, couldn't swap to the Deagle fast enough. Certainly Bleed, tense, sweating, but they will take map point, threatening that third pretty heavily now.
Yeah, bump on, lost bonus, it'll keep them alive, but realistically, Aurora have given us absolutely nothing to work with in towards this second half. They really have been a side that just fell apart. They've not shown us anything that we saw in towards that first map, and it's a tough spot, but all the credit has to be given towards Bleed. Cassard and crew have looked very, very good. They found a lot of form. They've really managed to limit some of these individuals. I mean, Deco really hasn't been able to get all too active, especially in the second half. He had a very good first half, but he's quieting down, but so is everybody towards Aurora. 4 map points for Bleed, and I don't see a world in which they lose this. They might have to go flawless for the half.
Oh, Kenzie looking to deny those words away from you, sir. As he will find that opener. Resol looking for another as well. So, indeed, might curse him, but we'll see. Favin gonna brush shoulders.
Oh my.
Looking for more than just one hit. Looking to be a bit greedy. The trigger discipline coming in. Spots out one, finds him. He's now created a bit of an awkward situation for himself, but he's still going to be able to get the better of it. Resol could not correct fast enough, but the B bomb site is a bit vulnerable. So it's kind of all over the place as Bleed have left it somewhat open. Jacob, got to be careful. They feel like with 12, they've got it in the bag. Some of these peaks are quite confident, to say the least, and they're being taught a lesson here by Aurora.
Aurora will take pogs of you. They will fight you every day of the week. Bomb should go down here. Cypher, 1. Not looking left, though. He's going to be caught. And he thrusts Favin into a 1 versus 2. It is doable. Swing and a dink, but not a kill. First round in this entire half for Aurora. 12-9. Still map point Bleed, but you do not want to give any space towards this Aurora side. They're a side that will punish you. And they've just seen it there. Over peaks, over fights. And Aurora get a first on the board in this T side finally.
Yeah, just a little unfortunate. It's that one onto Cypher, really, where he's kind of looking the wrong way. So it happens. Nothing to panic about just yet. They lose this one. I think we've got to take a timeout, you know, because money is not good. Aurora picking up the pace again towards lane, getting that B control early.
This time, not opting against that shelf peak. I think it's a smart decision. Molotov will come down, but Cypher playing around it. Avoiding the spam for now. I think he's got a good idea. Smoke will come down as well. He's just avoiding the spray. Now I'm going to play up above. He's looking for the jump peak, but this time, I've been given 1 minute 15 on the clock. And Aurora haven't taken a lot of onus, but Cypher's spam is good. Knows his angles, knows his lineup. Kenzie falls.
Pretty big kill early on, especially because it comes for free. Nork looking good from Donut, dropping that bomb. Smoke going to go down just as the one towards middle begins to dissipate. Nork even finding another. Absolute ridiculousness. They'll get a bit aggressive here. Hampus and Jacob together may well have secured this map. Third absolutely happening. Resol is, don't get me wrong, a fantastic player, but with just a Galil, no info, no bomb, and not much time, I do not foresee this going his way.
It's too big an ask, isn't it? Bless him. He's been okay in this map. I mean, that's the only thing we can say. Deco's the only one who's really lit up the server, but the majority of that was that first half. Resol, swing, and a find. 25 seconds, he just doesn't have the time. Nate will come over, tag down low. I mean, we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's just too big an ask. Has to pick up the bomb and then make his way towards the site. With 15 seconds on that clock, it's all consolation kills is all he's looking for here. Get some stats on the board, potentially. 8, 7, this one's done. This is going to be the game going the way of Bleed. Resol will get one more, but that will be that. Bleed, 13-9. They take their map pick, and they're going to push us towards that decider. This series is blown wide open. Who's joining Mongols in the best of 5? We'll have to wait and see. We'll see you after the break.
You have to wear them in big style. Even then, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Straight to desk after mic's up. All right. All right.
Scrub, you might want to get your cable behind you. Cable behind you. Yeah.
Убил еще меня, пачка! Ко мне, ко мне! Я долго. Хуёво, у меня щёлк уходит. Быстро пойдём, магазин! Раз, два! Убил? Я забрал торез. Найс! Авик забрал! Ебать я нахуй, блядь! Субил.
The first half had us thinking that Aurora might be running away with it, but a clash of leadership prevails in Bleed after a few choice words come through, losing only one in that second. Neo, what just happened? Aurora completely collapsing on that T side.
Yeah, only losing one, but the one thing that Aurora lost was the mental game. They absolutely fell apart. And, you know, I think you have to look towards the leadership here. You have to look towards the likes Norvi of Brain. They just couldn't slow down their side. They were so giddy in a lot of these fights. They lost all discipline. And I think because of that, Bleed were able to punish them so often. I got to give a lot of credit to Hampers. The mid to late round was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kassad obviously also coming in with a couple of words, I'm sure, going into that second half. But the man who came in with a lot of words in the second half, I'm sure he's going to be our player of the match. I'm sure I'm maybe getting ahead of myself, but it's hard not to when Cypher looked that good, Scrim.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, you know, especially when they flip over, you maybe expect Cypher to be a bit quieter, but he was really getting in there. I think maybe they've talked in between maps, let me have a bit more freedom. You know, we saw a lot of opportunities when, there you are, man of the hour. But yeah, when an opening kill came in or a 5v3 situation, he was often the player to get in there and secure it by pushing him behind, finding a good place to work from, you know?
I mean, especially that 2 versus 4 round where Cypher has been able to push through the B doors and find the bomb.
Yeah.
It felt like Cypher was giving us an extra dimension that, you know, like Scriv said, traditionally we don't always see from him. I feel like Ancient, though, is where we see some of Hampus' best calls and some of Cypher's best work.
And let's look at it the other way as well. Map 1 to map 2, you know, completely different showings. So I think you've got to get a lot of credit to kind of Cypher in terms of the mental game. It's tough. When you have a really bad map, you're the lowest in your team, arguably you might blame himself a lot about what went wrong, to kind of be able to flip it and be like, okay, that's it. We're going into our pick, we're into map pick. I know I can play well, and he did. And I think he backed himself a lot. This is the big thing with Cypher. When he gets going, he's tough to stop. And that's what Aurora did wrong. They gave him opportunities.
And listen, this is where I have to also just say, Neil, I do think that the point that you just made about the leadership, sorry guys, we've got some copyrighted music going on in my head right now. I'm trying to figure out what that's on streaming on. But the leadership point is incredibly important, right?
Yes.
Going out of map number 1, Aurora maybe feeling like they have an easy breezy road through. They're obviously confident on Ancient as well. But now we're going into Anubis, and leadership could not be more important. This is a map that they've already lost to Chinga's Warriors.
It's true.
That they already felt like they were maybe struggling a little bit up against Lin Vision as well. Scriv, what does Aurora need to be saying in their camp right now?
Yeah, so I feel, you know, they really have to, again, it's that kind of emotional game, work on that where things do get away from them ultimately, because they have this ability within them to get a little bit tilted, you feel like, right? You see that, I think they would be the first to admit that as well. So you just kind of have to cool off, not really think too much. You could see it right towards the end, those final 2 or 3 rounds, they're just pushing smokes, solo plays, you know, it all just fell apart. They were like, whatever, man, we'll just go next map, and they kind of soft conceded.
It's all discipline, right? Because they are a young team. I think, Lucky's the oldest player on that team at 22, 23. They don't have that 10-year player. They don't have a Jacob or a Nort or a Kassad who can say, right, guys, slow down. This is fine. We're not under any pressure. You know, Kassar did it really well. They're 8-4 down. We could see him from here in the halftime break is super vocal into Hampers, into Cypher, saying, you guys are what's going to win this game for us. That didn't happen to Aurora. They were too lax, way too undisciplined, and it slipped away.
And unfortunately, this is where the conversation about Brain not really having a pedigree of coaching comes into play, right? This is where the conversation of Lackey and Norway as an IGL switching and juggling things out during the duration of this Aurora lifetime comes in. We are in an arena, we are in a pretty damn big stage for them, and even though the crowd's honestly on their side, guys, at the same time, you are going into this without a true leadership figure. I need some quick thoughts on Anubis from you, Neo. I need some quick thoughts. Mostly predictions is what I'm looking at. Where is this one going, guys?
I don't know about you, but I'm actually leaning Bleed quite heavily now. They've woken up. I think Bleed, for me, this tournament has been quite slow starting, but when they get going into series, they're good. And, you know, second half of that Mongols game, right? Really good. So if we get down to Anubis, I don't know, I'm feeling all right.
Yeah, and maybe the way of Bleed as well. I think, again, we've seen a run of rounds now. Yesterday against the Mongols for that little bit on Anubis, and then just here, obviously, almost perfect counter-strike from them, so absolutely. I think they can tap into that once again.
Let's wait and find out because we're off to a break. We'll be back with Anubis very soon. Can Aurora stay in this or will Bleed sweep them away?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hello everybody, welcome back into Aurora versus Bleed here at the MESA Nomadic Masters Spring 2024. Third and final map for the consolidation final. Who will be joining the Mongols? Both teams looking for revenge against the Mongols, I suppose. So Bleed maybe more recently, but you have to cast your mind back to the start of the tournament. Aurora were one of our first teams to face off against them. Somebody got to do it. And indeed, they did not have a good time. So they'll be looking to get back there as they've been ramping up into the tournament, looking very clean since. Bleed, meanwhile, started off well, actually started off very well, and unfortunately for them, they ran into the Mongols and they've hit that brick wall. It looked shaky on the first map against Aurora, but map number 2 span around massively in their favor. We shall see here whether they can find it in 3.
Yeah, it has to be said, the response out from Bleed in that second half was really, really good, showcasing exactly what they've got in the locker. They're a very good side. When they get going, they can really break down teams and break the mental, and that was the big thing that we touched on the desk. Aurora, discipline out the window, that mental state of this side, because they're a very young, relatively inexperienced team to a degree. They just lost control. They couldn't find a way to claw themselves back into the fight, back into the fray. Only one round in that second half is simply put not good enough. So let's take a look and see what things look like heading in towards map number 3. It's for all the beans, all the marbles here. Best of 1, essentially, on Anubis to the side. Who will be joining Mongols in that grand final, the best of 5 here to win the lion's share of 100,000 at the MESA Nomadic Masters. We are going live. It's Anubis. We said it was a bit of a handshake, a gentleman's agreement between these two sides, as they both really like it. Judging by this, the knife round won by Aurora. They'll start CT side.
They will indeed. There's Julie's board up. Smoke as well for Resol, but it's the P250 of Nork that gets into the action early on. Kenzie, the first one to fall. And Bleed kick things off well. It is not a round absolutely secured quite yet, but a nice start. Certainly a start that they needed coming into this, pick up where they left off.
Fashion to come round as well. Smoke will come down nice and easy. Julie's behind the Resol. Those are those guys getting tagged, but he gets dinged, dropped by Cypher, and isn't open, and they're not going to go off the back of it. They're just going to call a pause, fall back, and now they've got the numbers.
It's kind of fair. I mean, they look pretty good. You know, they should be able to sort of slowly roll things. I think they're hoping that Aurora, at the very least, lean A, put 2 players there, therefore only 1 on B, but not quite the case. Deco is still around here on this B bomb site. Actually going to be the first line of defense, trying to draw them in. They might get a little giddy against him, and they will. Deco for 2. Norvy's still here, of course, trying to close that gap. Jacob and Nork, the P250s, worth their weight in gold, leaving Lackey for it all. Oh, he'll catch them in transition. He's going to sneak round, maybe try and deny the bomb plant here. He can't do it, but he does get the planter. Just one headshot required, and Lackey will find it. Aurora steal the pistol.
Oh, that's massive. Deco's giving them a lifeline, and Lackey snatches it back in his favour. That is a massive round to be taking. What a way to start as well. Bleed, they fumbled that one. 5v3, not gone in their favour. That's a bad one to lose. That was a 5v2 fight on the site in which they really came off worse for wear. Lackey, credit to him. Great work. Yeah, to see what it means. Kenzie.
He goes crazy, bro.
So
he
loud.
goes crazy.
Do you know what as well? I
we
think
need him in
perfect.
Kettering, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we need him at the IEM. But no, honestly, he's really getting loud. And they need that. They need a bit of a vibes, man, just to keep the mood high. Obviously, they completely lost it in that second half of map number 2. It's good. That's the start they need. Bomb plant, though, does mean Bleed get a bye.
Very slow move here from Bleed. I think they will be absolutely kicking themselves. You could see Kassad head in hands after that one. What do you make of it? That's the way pistols can go down, though. You know, they can turn in an instant. Every now and then you're going to do that to someone else, but you're going to have it done to you. It's just all a question of when the Banshee comes calling.
Yeah, it's about how you respond as well, right? You know, they brought back in, which is a good thing. They've got to try and make this one stick. They've already burnt about 50 seconds off the clock here, and not really done all too much with it. They're grouping towards B. They've got a decent idea, but it's pretty heavily manned. But Deco's who was rotating away, he's just dancing between that and mid.
Again, just really not giving anything away. Bleed wanting to keep everyone alive, it looks like. Moving in nice and slow. They will eventually give their game away. It's team damage that comes round, yeah. And more damage dished out as well. Big one from Jacob to be able to find that, because they look worse for wear right now. But Bleed doing a good job, winding this clock down, rolling into the B-bomb site, and Aurora not ready for them.
They're so low. I'm not sure how much of this is confirmed damage. One of them was a team tag. I think I'm right to say by Favin. But does he give it a go? Resso is sticking around at least to have a little look in. No kit though, no util. No fight's been given his way. Might be tempted against him. Might even just pick up the M4 and fall away. He's being pushed upon. He will get one. M4 then collected. M4, A4 opted for the extra
Get the flash!
Ammo. Yeah.
There's a flash on the floor. Oh.
Exits.
Thank you.
Gets the flash, but yeah, he can't get the exits. That'll be Bleed answering back. And that'll be Bleed putting up a first on the board for them. All tied square. We said it's not about what happens in that round. It's about how you respond. And it's a good one.
It is indeed. It is indeed, actually, a really, really nice looking round from the Bleed boys. Again, something that's maybe a little bit out of their DNA, at least what we saw on the previous map. They were really picking up the pace, trying to match Aurora at what felt like their own game. This, though, is something that Aurora don't like, sitting around, waiting to get going. We'll indeed see. Obviously just changing a few things up before we get back into the game, it would seem.
It's a slow round anyway. I don't
yeah,
like
I mean, you're not really expecting too much out from this. Wrestle with his A4. The golden flashbang in the hands of Deco. We'll see what they'll do with it. Wrestle's just creeping forward, so... Ooh, close for the double spray down. Not quite there. 4v4 ensues.
Cypher is so low. They can pick that M4 back up, which they probably will in just a second. It's Lucky making a move back over to get it. Maybe he's a world. Kanzi finds a good timing there. Cypher will get caught. That's a low player gone down. Attack going to be on towards Jacob as well. Up close. Spamming. Not good enough. Norvi can't confirm the kill. But Deco and this Eagle. Match made in heaven. He's been pretty damn good with it. I think he might be done and dusted here. He will get one, but he's going to burn to the flames and it spreads on towards his toes. But Lucky makes it two. Sees it off at the end and the low buy round out from Aurora. Bites back. No consistency. Back and forth, and Bleed let a big one slip.
It's going to be stressful here, isn't it? It's going to be very, very back and forth. Wow, yeah, that is such a ridiculous round when you think about what the buy was saying and the way that they played it out as well, just sort of pushing into them, into their territory, into their faces, and they find the kills.
Cassard not happy about that one. Don't blame him. I don't blame him. It's a bad one to lose. It's a big one take for Aurora. See, Temper's getting flared over towards Bleed, and he's too right. This is 2 rounds that they shouldn't have lost, really, right? Pistol shouldn't have lost. And that round there, same again. Looking towards A this time. Flash comes over. Slow him down for a bit, but they're playing contact.
Straight in towards the A-bomb site. Cypher will find that first. Back with a vengeance. Not happy at all with how things went down in the previous. He will eat a nade for his trouble, but, you know, the A-bomb site completely open, completely ripe for the taking here. They'll get that bomb down eventually. They are picky and choosy about where they want it to be planted. Jacob getting into the face of their opponents, nearly catching them. Completely trading things up. It's a complete overwhelm attempt here from Bleed. 3 versus 2. Molly coming in, going to keep them at bay. They're just trying to keep them away from the bomb for as long as possible. Buy themselves more and more time to work with. Molly down, Flash down. Are they ready for this man from in behind, though? Oh, Nock survives it. As close as it comes, but he dodges the bullets and says, watch this. Huge for Bleed.
How has that MP9 not got the kill there the second? Nog is a lucky man to be alive. Neo from the Matrix dodging them, but such a scrappy round of Counter-Strike. And this is the thing, when we were talking about it, at the moment for Bleed, they actually want to pull Aurora down into the trenches with them. They want a, you know, a bare-knuckle boxing match, because that's where they're going to do a lot of their best work. Aurora, they're quite a strategically heavy side. They rely off these sort of incremental plays where for Bleed, they can rely off the individuals. They've got the talent to do so. Cypher, Jacob, Hampers, Nork, etc. They're all can have their moments. There's a bit of a buy back in. Another kind of force for Aurora. But they bring a lot to the table, right? Same thing, 1 in 4, few bit of pistols. However, they won the last.
It's true, it's true. Definitely getting maybe caught up in this. But at the same time, you know, when you're seeing like Kevlar and 5-7s, they were on minimum money. Really nothing saved over from the early rounds with how bouncy it's been. All the same, Bleed again, winding the clock down. Just this war of attrition right now, really looking to keep Aurora on their toes, at the same time not necessarily giving them the fights that they are often so giddy for. You know, it's very on-edge kind of Counter-Strike, which is maybe not a great place to be. Molotov in, Kenzie drops back. Nobody on the Aurora side actually wants to take the fights when they present themselves. The gap opens up.
Beautiful.
And Bleed will push in nicely.
Wonderful work. Nice and simple. Nice and easy. Been a really good start individually for Hampus, who gets a third. Now to 3 is the moment. 5-7 getting mighty close, but it's not going to make a big difference. Result just looking for any sort of chip damage on the tail end. Not to be. Not going to be given that luxury. That's going to be Bleed taking a lead here, 3-2. And this is one that they can now work with. Econ going to be just a little bit shot over towards Aurora. They can't really afford to buy in towards the next. Don't have anything good saved either, so you're looking at this and saying, this is a good opportunity. This is where Bleed can start to spiral quite positively. This map, fundamentally quite T-sided. So let's see what's the play here. Either way, flawless. Off the back of a really good one from Hampus. Good spot they find themselves in, that's for damn sure. Wouldn't mind a pause sometime soon out of Aurora, though. It's a little conversation. They do same thing we saw tail end of map 2. They kind of lose a bit of discipline in the panicky moments.
Their map has not been as stable. You know, the rounds have not made as much sense. There's a lot more like responsive, getting aggressive, and they are maybe caught up in that last map. I'm kind of agreeing with you. You know what I mean? I don't know that things are going super, super well.
Yeah. Yeesh. Yikes. Kenzie, he has flared emotions in both ways, positive and negative, I guess you could say.
Sure.
As Resol will get caught there by Nork. At a peak that Aurora have been doing a lot and with mixed amounts of success.
Yeah. Again, it's something, maybe an interesting conversation, like when you're young, the emotions sort of running high. I was kind of the same, bro. I'm playing, you know, gold League of Legends games, and I was slamming my keyboard. That was kind of mine.
Really?
Like, I'd never broke any, but sometimes I'd have like a key pop off, and then I'd be like, all right, I gotta quit for today. Like, this is too much.
I'm not really, I never really was one of those, to be fair. Never much of a rager or a death slammer. More just a quit, Alt F4.
Yeah, the silent RQer.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
yeah, we all have our ways, don't we, I suppose.
Exactly.
Some people just kind of go in on themselves, don't talk so much.
Yeah, me and Deco, we go hand in hand.
Yeah, you reckon?
With brothers from other mothers. But same ability as well, just so good.
That part I'm debating. I think there's more chance that maybe you are from the same family than you being as good as him at Counter-Strike.
That round, bit of a throwaway, nothing really coming to fruition. A couple of consolation kills for Aurora, but all in all, 4-2, Bleed. Decent little lead here, back into the buy. No AWP in play, though, for Deco. He hasn't got his favourite weapon out, but he's still playing very, very well. It's everything this side. We look at Hampus, who's leading the charge. He was the guy we highlighted coming into this game. If they want to win, give him the resources, let him play his game. And he is, and he's playing very well. Yeah,
and again, maybe something that has, you know, changed map to map, changed based on the fact that Bleed were able to really prove themselves at the tail end of Ancient. A lot of it down to Hampus. Cypher was fragging, but Hampus with the calling, and his confidence, man, his mindset. It's a big thing. It's a big arena, you know, for both literally and figuratively for the likes of Hampus to really start proving himself again. Cypher will open up with a nice little solo play, I believe down below in the canals, all the same. 5v4 here, looking pretty good for Bleed. Slow encroachment in through middle. Deco's going to be the big man on the other side of it, but he's not looking to stick around, not looking to fight. Again, confidence maybe knocked. We're going for a quick A main check here, see if there's anyone around, but the conversion in from middle is going to catch, but Result with 2, it's a bit all over. It's all thanks to Cypher's untraded early frag that makes the difference here, and look at him again, worming his way in, denied that one, but surely done enough. We'll see, got to be careful here, particularly Faven. Full HP player making a lot of noise, takes the peak but wins the fight, and Bleed will keep rolling through the rounds.
Yeah, it's more of a sigh of relief there for Kassad as well. He knows how close these rounds are getting, but winning them is what matters most. They're pulling a bit further and further away. Oh man, bit by bit, these opportunities are rising, but Aurora a little bit sloppy in some of these fights and giving Cypher too many opportunities. He's so crisp. If you let this guy fight, he'll punish you. But Aurora have individuals that can step up. Wrestle's been a very good rifler for them. Kenzie's had his moments too. I don't know if they can compete in terms of the skill ceiling of Cypher. Throughout this tournament, he's had some really pop-off moments. That previous map was unbelievable. He is now starting to warm up. 8 kills to his name, catching up very quickly to Hampus. They've got multiple different facets of where the firepower is coming from. Cypher, Hampus, Nork, and that is a scary prospect when you're Aurora. Struggling, 5-2 down, and on an eco, Huckabee about to lose another and give Bleed a 6.
Yeah, again, as we kind of touched on, Hampus through the smoke, getting a kind of ridiculous kill, but as we touched on throughout the tournament, they nearly get the better of him. What is going on? These shots are so close from Hampus.
It's 3.
Yeah, I'll hold the point. I didn't even catch the second, I'm not going to lie to you. It just sort of felt, yeah, the key wasn't even... Mental. But either way, I think that if they can put it all together, they've got one of the scariest packs in all of like that tier 2 into 1.5. Sure. Hampus, Cypher, Nork. I think with Nork having the open hand could be a terrifying T-side. Especially
with kind of the dissolution of Apex, right? Dissolution of ITB as well. You know, no more top-level Gamer Legion. I don't think they've really looked themselves for a while. They've made decent changes recently. Slender and Andu feel like very good pickups, but still, we haven't seen them on a consistent...
Not on the same proven level.
Yeah, and then Monty, same thing for them, right? They've gone for big changes. Minus SDY was kind of a big one for me, and then recently, of course, picking up Hadji and Stiko hasn't looked too fruitful, at least on LAN and whatnot. So, you know, this is a really good opportunity. There's a really decent space here where Bleed can take, where all 4 of those teams who are once kind of the upper echelons of tier 2 are kind of no longer there. Maybe Gamer Legion to a degree stick around more so, but...
Yeah, but they're also, their lineups, their teams that have to take a few more chances. It feels like Bleed have spent the money, have gone for some names. Again, a lot of it may be down to sort of the ability and experience of Kassad. You know, 65k when they wanted like $1 million for Nork.
Shrewd business.
It is shrewd business. It's also, that is bloody mental. Like, he's not worth that much. So like, what are you talking about as well? Like, it goes the other way. Like, he's done well to figure it out. But yeah, I think the prices of players overinflated. Either way, into another rifle round here. Aurora, again, you might expect them in a situation like this, 6-2 down, to pull out some of those desperate kind of rounds, go for a B main push. Yeah. Seems a lot of their aggression leans on the A side, and they're just not finding anything there. Bleed are not giving them the fights. Nork to contact in, picks off the head of Kenzie, and now maybe the B bomb site is where we are going to end up.
Oh, Norvi, he's dancing around the smokes. He somehow got out of there. Deco's been given the chance at 2. Deco looking for more. Norvi will swing in. Deco can't actually get the kills because Norvi's getting them quicker. And now a 1v4 somehow in this post plant. And Favin's got it all to do. 1 spotted, 1 dropped. And Favin given the opportunity to fall away here, swing back in. And he gets one more. He gives himself a chance. But it's Aurora who win out a much needed round. But it's made still pretty expensive.
Yeah, definitely a difficult one for them. I think Bleed will be kicking themselves a little. I don't know, man. You find that early pickup. Do you have to go bursting in? It also looked a bit hesitant. It's not like that was the initial plan, where it's like, okay, Nork's going to take a peek here. If he gets a kill, we're going. It was more of a call. So I'm not so sure I'm the biggest fan of it, but all the same, I'm probably not going to go for something like that again. It falls flat quite quickly.
You can see Deco, though. Back in the higher numbers, so important. As I mean, without a doubt, been the best player for Aurora so far today, and actually probably across the tournament too. I mean, him and Resol.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think
for it.
Resol and Kenty have been swapping around. Lackey a little bit in there as well, but Deco is always towards that top spot.
So damn good, man. Oh, Norvi. That one was needed. Little Laban, and Favin will punish. Opening kill, going the way. Double orb setup here out for Aurora. Lackey picking one up himself. Doesn't mind using it in all fairness, Lackey. He's not actually too bad. Throwback to the old Entropic days. Learned the ways from Elian. Was a very decent AWP in the online era. Just never really could transfer that to a LAN environment.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. That is a pretty big throwback, though. The ecstatic boyos.
Ecstatic? Entropic.
Entropic, yeah,
There we
man.
go.
Sorry. It's been a long old event. I'm allowed one slip up.
Yeah.
You even literally just said it, so I don't know, mate. Like, you know, my
fair,
brain does not compute.
Throwback to the old ecstatic LAN. I mean,
Well,
all
yeah,
Fascia and those
Shout
boys.
out. Why not? Get all the tier 2 homies in, but we'll see here if the Aurora boys can hold on while being a man down. Favin working his way in. It's Jacob with the trade. Deco still alive, but burnt down. And much better this time from Bleed. They pick up the first, they go for the B hit, and it is far more structured than the previous round.
Yeah, really well done. Molotov comes down. Deco, yes, he gets one, but he's burning. And he's slowed down by the flames as well, so he can't escape. And now for Lackey. He's having a little look in, but he's not giving this a go. No one's retaking a 1v3 with an AWP. That's for damn sure. Now it's going to be Bleed, putting a 7th on the board. And they're starting, slowly but surely, walking away with this first half. And that potentially could even mean the map 2. Aurora are in a tough spot, at least mentally. They've kind of checked out of this game, it feels a little bit. They did it in that map 2, especially that second half, and I don't think they've been able to wake themselves back up. Not at the very least just yet. Bomb will go off. And Lackey not getting anything on the tail end. Now it's going to be Bleed finding a 7th here. Building up a pretty stable lead now. I'm getting concerned, man. I probably want to see a pause out of Aurora. I feel like they're just letting this one run away.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. I mean, this is an area at which Aurora can struggle. That mental game, high highs and low lows, and just sort of approaching it, dealing with it. They're very sort of contained players. Do they have the ability to sit back, take a moment, revisit, figure out what's going on? Or is it if they take a pause, they're all just going to start arguing and pointing fingers? Again, the woes of a younger team. Nice shot out from Deco to open up proceedings, though. That's exactly what they needed to just quell the nerves, and they're just not going to stop, apparently. Lackey all the way down middle, nearly finding a kill.
Yeah, oh my god, Kenzie. Just on the edge of that smoke, gets a freebie. Cypher, back turn, he will fall. Tries to sneak his way forward. Fabin going to burn. That's information gained, and fair decent amount of damage too. He will avoid the nade, but it blows open the smoke. That's good teamwork from Aurora. They're responding well.
Yeah, looking good indeed. Jacob on the edge of this one, looking for a way back in, but it's going to need a wing and a prey. Does manage to find a clean heady. I believe just sort of on the edge of that smoke going down.
The one tap.
We'll see. 4v2. They know the location of one. Mr. Nork is waiting, slow but sure, for someone to walk into his crosshair. I don't think it's going to be the case. Aurora, for all their faults as an over-aggressive team at times, they absolutely know not to mess this one up.
Deco posted, holding, waiting. I don't know if he... I think he might think there's one still tucked over towards that right-hand side, so he's just periodically checking between the both of them. Nork starts to make a move. Jacob's tagged, so Nork's will do a lot of the heavy lifting in this round here. It's not easy. Flash comes over. Norvy's waiting for the swing as well. Deco could get caught, and he will get caught. Now a chance opening up here for Nork. Finds one, Deco falls. That's the important man. Still a 2 versus 3, but it's doable. 15 seconds. Got to make a move now. Smoke will come down. I don't think they're going to be given the luxury of a plant here either. They've got to plant in the open. They've got to plant in the thick of it. That smoke gives them some coverage. And Jacob going to find one. Looks for a second, but Norvi will answer back. 1v2. It's Nork and an AWP in a clutch, but the bomb is planted for him. His shot. Seconds up. Skip connects. 1v1. Up close and personal. Nork closes it. Monstrous from Nork. Lays down the gauntlet, and Aurora can't answer back. Bleed cannot lose.
Into the next. We'll see. Aurora going to be, oh man, not happy with that. I'll tell you that much for free. I ain't much of a knowledgeable guy about what goes on in that team, but they will certainly be upset with that.
We might see a little replay of it as well.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That's got to be a backbreaker when you're already this far down, and it just goes to show that they have lost control of themselves, lost the identity. And here we go. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Yeah. Ultimately falling apart, a little tense, a little quick. Meanwhile, on the Bleed side of things, incredibly happy with how things are panning out. Three sporadic rounds. It paints a pretty bleak picture here. Yes, it's T-sided, but rounds like that, they're never nice to lose, let me tell you.
I can tell you the arena love that one as well. Here in Ulamatar, the Step Arena, they were pretty hyped for that one. My God. And it's only early doors here. It's currently quarter 2-3 in the afternoon here.
Yeah, well, they're waiting for the big boys, man.
Mongols,
you know, that's the thing. When the Mongols secured the grand final, you know they're going to come and fill this place up. Results to open us up into the final round of this first half. Looking for maybe a little more than just that, but I suppose it's a nice way to start.
Decent damage being dealt towards Nork as well, but also Result, so it's the potential. They're going to boost above the smoke. It's pretty good. They will spot ahead. Yeah, Result gets caught. Good find. And they don't have to commit off that either. Molotov comes behind the smoke, and now as it fades as well, they've got decent coverage, but they don't need to use it. They've got plenty of time.
Molotov will burn Lackey out into an awkward spot there on A. Hampus, meanwhile, holding in at middle. Not expected. Great angle from him. Fantastic find. Maybe a footstep by Norby. Gave him away there. Jacob with the lurk out. Bleed. Oh, man, again, this is what I was talking about. We've seen little bits of it, little tidbits, where it's nigh on perfect Counter-Strikes, running rings around Aurora here. 4v2, got to go for it last round, but it ain't looking good.
No, it's not. Oh, Kenzie, though, will give them an opportunity. 2v3. Nork is tagged as well, so he now kind of enters into the realm of one bullet headshots to the rifle. You've got to be careful. There's no U-turn on this retake. However, there's at least some flashes over towards Bleed, but Kenzie brings it back into 2 versus 2. Uncharacteristic miss from Nork, but Favin will respond in kind. And in this 1 versus 2, surely job done, but Kenzie opens it up. His third kill of the round. It's just Nork to try and deny again in the clutch, but time so far ticked. Surely, with the open plant, with the position, it should be done. And Nork again steps up in a clutch. And Aurora can't fault him. They can't find a gap in that armor. I'm worried, man. That might be it. I think the mental's gone.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. You know, we saw very early on, it's actually a really nice kind of test of the players, which is ultimately what we are watching here, what we are after.
Yeah.
Very, very back and forth, you know, force buys being won, clutches being lost, etc., etc. And, you know, we saw from the Bleed side of things, that little clip of Kassad, and you know in an international team when the first language comes out, it's serious, right? He wasn't feeling the best. He wasn't the happiest. Is it down to the team? Is it, you know, we don't really know. But, like, there were emotional reactions from everybody on both sides. And Bleed have managed to sort of put that to one side, play the Counter-Strike, keep it together. I think Aurora have let the emotional game take over. No one's talking.
Yeah, it is.
It's half time. No one's talking.
Yeah, man. I think you're spot on. It's eerily quiet.
It's
over
still
on the
there.
side.
You know, it's not awful, obviously. They're like professional players, but that extra 5-10%, it just isn't there.
Yeah, I'm worried, man. I'm worried. It feels like mentally this side might have checked out Aurora. This kind of 2-minute halftime break that we get it needs to be emphatic. But I mean, let's throw it back to the start of this map, right? Look how scrappy it was. You spoke about kind of Kassad when he got pretty angry early there. They were really rough rounds, and it actually looked like Aurora had the fortune on their side, where these scrappy retakes or these scrappy clutches were going in their favor, and then the gun rounds, the streak out from Bleed was so damn good, and Aurora like we said, you know, we even actually mentioned it off the back of kind of like the 4th round when they won a couple of those clutches. And they were really, really just chaotic. They're not replicable, and that's the issue that we saw of Aurora's rounds. No consistency, no consecutive rounds. The rounds they did win, you can't repeat them. You can't rely on somebody getting lucky for a smoke or getting, you know, a multi-frag every single time. So a pistol round for me needed for Aurora if they want any chance, but they lose this, I think they might lose the series, the map, everything.
It is entirely possible, sir. It really is. So there's a lot riding on this one. The Aurora players, can they perform under the pressure? Will they crumble? Slow encroachment out towards middle. With the nades, they'll make their presence known, but the question is, you know, how many are coming? We've got Jacob, we've got Hampus. It's a late move in from Resol. Could get weird here, try and crunch them in. However, Hampus, he clears out that A main area. Can he stay alive? He's lost his teammate. He will go down eventually. Has he done enough? Deco up close with the P250, looking for a little bit more. Just about makes it away. They will finish him off, though. 2 versus 2 as the bomb goes down. There's no kit available here for the CT side, but a quick move in from both ends. Favon finds a keen one, spots out the second, and will take it. Pistol goes the way of Bleed, and the door for Aurora begins to close.
Bit by bit, moment by moment, this map, this final has been set up for a rematch of the upper bracket finals. Bleed getting ever closer to taking on the Mongols. Aurora, they are just out of this. They cannot find a way to succeed. They get a bomb plant, which is going to be their only saving grace from that, but it's Favon's double, which is monstrous. 10-3, 7 rounds the deficit, and a force fight to come through for Aurora off the back of the plant. Lose this, and that might be game, set, and match. That might be curtains here in the lower bracket. Consolidation final in map number 3. He's gone the distance in this series to that decider of Anubis. We said there's a bit of a gentleman's agreement, but Bleed had something in their back pocket. They knew exactly what they were facing when it came to Aurora.
Early spam down. Ooh, there will be a little 1-for-1. Norvi traded by Hampus. Nork is in quite deep, though. Not being expected, just walking through A main. Why not when you're 10-3? Give it a go. See what you can get away with. Early on in the half, all that good stuff. So, again, it's a little smart from Nork. Can see half now. So, not the best look for the 3 remaining Aurora players.
1 smoke, 2 smokes, in fact. But Kenzie, half HP. He's an issue. There's no util over towards Bleed. That's the only thing that I'm looking at. That might be a little bit of a caveat, potentially. Numbers favour for them. Making a move here. Hamper, swing, ding. Could be in trouble. Jasper trying to stay alive, and Kenzie going to drop him. That'll give him something as Deco delivers on towards Cypher. Round open back up. Numbers taken by Aurora. This one's flipped quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Smoke going to go down. Jacob kind of flies in to try and do something, but just not respecting them at all. Nork will be left in the 1 versus 3 situation. Probably just going to save, if we're being realistic, unless a kill comes his way quickly. So Aurora buy themselves a bit more time, but at the moment, not all that valuable, not all that important. It is all about whether they can keep this going.
They got plenty of time as well. They're in no rush. It's one of those where there's so many rounds in arrears. You don't need to try and force it here. Save will come through. They might be tempted. Yeah, they probably will actually force buy around this as well. Double eco because of the loss bonus. They're probably going to give it a go, but it's what they can bring to the table. Aurora have been okay when it comes to those lower buy rounds, so maybe it's a chance to see what Bleed can bring to the table. But a slow end to that round there as Aurora put a 4th on the board. And it is an interesting spot where Aurora, they need an insane amount of consistency, which we haven't seen for a while out from them. Basically since half-time in map 2, everything after that has been one-way traffic for Bleed. So I don't think there's anything to be worried about just yet. If you're Cassard, if you Bleed, you're fine, right? You do force in. Deagles across the board, a couple of 5-7s as well. And a small amount of smokes.
Speedy round from the Aurora side then to try and catch an early one towards B. Going to get the utility out as well. This is where that nasty little boost could be big. Oh, nade onto Nork. Looking effective. Double swing doesn't really find too much. M4 recoverable for just a second, but not quite. 5-7 comes in. Cypher always good for 1 with that thing. Either way, round looks good for Aurora here. Again, you might just save what you have if you Bleed. Yeah. Try and give it another go into the next. You have to roll through the motions here.
Yeah, a couple of very hopeful pop shots for that Deagle, but yeah, no in it in the end. So yeah, spot on. Keep hold of the half armor, the pistols. As well as it's better than nothing, I guess is probably the mindset here. For you, you can play X's, but it doesn't really matter. There is enough money to work with for Aurora. So 10-5 now. Aurora chip the deficit down. There is a chance. There's moments that are starting to open up for them, but it's T-side. Not convinced just yet. Not exactly going to entertain the conversation. At least until I see a little bit more. Jacob will get one with that Deagle. Any more for any more will be good. And he'll get it. Okay. Jacob making it expensive at the tail end at the very least. It's a little silver lining. You'll take it.
Sure. Sure. Just keeping them again on their toes, not letting the confidence fully roll up that it's like, it's getting easy now, right? You know, Jacob makes himself known. But ultimately, a simple round for Aurora, as you would expect. Mr. Jacob finding a couple. Cypher just a small rage. He's a quiet rager.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite the slammage, but either way, we roll into another Aurora likely round. It's actually a B stack. They're heading A, so it looks incredibly likely here now.
Yeah, the 5-7, the P250 aren't really going to do all too much in this one. They stacked over towards the site, and yeah, it's a 50-50, it's a gamble. I want to wish they've called wrong. So, Aurora, we'll see off a 6th here. This is starting to get a little bit more dicey for Bleed. And again, this is where you can maybe make conversations about Kassard calling for a pause and saying, right lads, we need to really clean this up in towards our CT side. We can't allow Aurora in this.
Yeah, just to be safe, right?
Yeah.
You never really know, especially again on the stage. And with the inexperience for the Bleed roster.
He's got 3 as well left, so.
Yeah, you might as well. You might as well just kind of take a little moment. Maybe not even talk. And just be like, guys, just really figure out what you're doing. You know, just stay cool. Keep the emotions calm. Yeah, so much room to work with, so no need to get a bit giddy. But here we go then, video gaming, as this first proper rifle will roll around here in the second half. I don't know, man, the gap is closing. It's not as big as it was at the turn.
Yeah.
And after getting that pistol, you expect a bit of a conversion to come in, start to solidify the fact. But it did not happen for Bleed. And you can see vocality from Aurora, they're starting to feel themselves again.
Yeah, it is now very interesting indeed. There is definitely something to talk about when it comes towards this game, that's for damn sure. Buy back in. No KWP, AK of course saved there by Jacob, which will take every day of the week, but want to try and find some consistency Bleed on the CT side. There's plenty of long-term econ built up by the side of Aurora. Early little push coming through there, bit of chip damage, but Wrestler doesn't take all too much, he falls away.
Just a general spam in through smokes here. Oh, there's a peek coming. There's a peek coming. I feel it. Little bit. Not thinking about it. Gonna land that flick as well.
Beautiful.
Huge. Great start for Bleed. Massive shot. And now the advantage. Oh, it looks so good. Smoke goes down into dark. No chance at a trade for Aurora.
That's big. Kill and just fall away. They don't need to give them anything. Park up. Wait for the fights to come to them. Time is on their side as well. Bombs are gone down. So at the moment, their clock is their best friend. And that's where pressure has actually really caused a lot of problems over towards Aurora. They're going back. Double stack here as well. Jacob laying anti as Fabinu will fall. Jacob swing and Result will delete him. Just tears his head off his shoulders. I don't know, they might just save it already.
It's got to be a save, yeah. They're a bit too far away. Slightly lackadaisical there, just really not expecting the A move to come in, unfortunately. So, yeah, Bleed will be kicking themselves. Ooh. This one was on the cards, definitely not in the bag, to use the cliche phrases. Yeah. But in their heads after that first one, they'll feel like they should have had it.
This game is opening up within 3, reaching distance now for Aurora. And far from over if you are Bleed. And I think from what felt pretty comfortable, calm, collected over towards Bleed, pretty happy from what we could see across the faces. Bit of stress started to develop, bit of pressure on those shoulders. You see as well, up here, they are just feeling a little bit of that, a little bit of that weight. As Aurora, a side that you cannot give any owners, any openings to, they will punish.
Yeah, exactly what they've done in that previous round. Yo, I know that guy. Exactly what they've done in that previous round as well at the end of the day. So they have to be careful now. Aurora, yeah, picking up steam, all about the T side. But you can just see, I mean, having a little giddy, maybe getting timed on, I suppose, but still pretty flat hold there from the A players. Maybe a change-up. Actually needing to come in. We've got Nork over there. Jacob moves round to mid. Favin in particular moves round to mid. So they're posting the AWP up on B. Hamper's going to lose his head through the smoke. That's a little unfortunate. Not much that you can do about that. There is a trade back from the CT side. Result making his way out. Cypher down below. Finding efficiency, but he's trapped in between a rock and a hard place. Result's been caught by Favin, who gets caught by Deco, who gets caught by Jacob. It's just all over. Jacob trained in, will find it and bleed. They respond in kind. Aurora trying something a bit faster, but it does not work.
Yeah, big celebration, man.
There he is again.
There from Kassad as well. He was very, very happy. Just, you could see the sigh of relief getting that around over the board. They have faltered a little bit over the last few. But again, this is something that we keep coming back to and we'll keep mentioning. That's a lack of discipline from Aurora. They've given them way too many fights there. They don't need to be swinging through smokes dry. It's so risky, the inherent risk versus reward in those sort of engagements. If we're talking about playing a percentage game, that's not what they're doing there. They're really hoping, winging it. And a bit of a prayer that something will go in their favor and there'll be perfect timing and all the rest. It doesn't happen. And they've given Bleed an opportunity once again. 11-7, 4 rounds ahead, 2 rounds away for Bleed for the map in the series in that grand final.
Yes, within touching distance now. Nork misses out. The early shot will be Molotov'd off the angle. What do we do for the response here? He's going to get a Molotov of his own out. And that will stop Aurora, capitalizing, catching him in transition. Minute and 15 left on the clock. They're kind of widespread. For me, it looks like it will be an A finish, though. You've got 2 in mid, 2 outside A. Decker watching the extremity.
Well, now, all goes a little quiet, just shy of a minute on that clock. You've the AWP and play both ways. Deco has been okay, especially that first half. He was actually the only one really that you could talk about, but it's not exactly that pull-away performance that Deco has had in the first map and the second. It's spread relatively evenly across the board towards Bleed as well. Cypher's cooled off a tad on that CT side, but it's understandable. T-Tad's way does a lot of his best work. Fight, in by mid, swing, laboured spray, not a kill coming through as Jacob's a lucky man to stay alive, and he'll respond with a nade, which does tag up Lackey.
Yeah, not a lot of damage traded off that one, considering it was quite a hard-fought fight. Oh, Cypher bested. Maybe taking his eyes off the crosshair a little bit. Hampus in behind this pillar here. Really difficult spot to deal with. Doesn't get cleared. Out on the left. Can't quite find it. Result will take him, but it's the 4v3. Slim. Spam is close from Jacob, but not close enough. They'll get the bomb down, and maybe a move to save here from Bleed. Yes, indeed it is.
They're calling it. The only thing that maybe denies that call to a save is whether the spam through the smoke denies the bomb going down. That gives them time to regroup and recollect their thoughts before going for a 3-on-3 retake, but a 4-on-3, when you don't have any util, it's not worth it. So, Aurora still far from dead. They have 1 foot in the grave, but it's definitely not both. 11-8 now, 3 rounds of difference. Rebuys come back in though, that's the main thing for Bleed. They got plenty of cash to do so. Not the end of the world just yet, but Aurora, for them, gotta give them credit. From that first half, I kind of thought it may have been already done, right? And they've managed to really calm the nerves a little bit. I think a lot of credit has to be given towards Norvi. We've seen them get quite vocal. They've been stepping up this side. Not done just yet. Cypher getting caught is the big one. Still got the vocal calls on him though, even despite what has been a tough one. But yeah, Cypher, you can feel it.
Yeah.
He's been struggling there in through dark.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's a tough position. It is a really, really tough position, to be honest. And especially now, I think a lot more teams are used to the way that you approach it. So he's really just playing off of like a reactionary game that hopefully he's picked the right angle that they're not guessing.
Sure,
if they're going tight, have I got the right one? If they're going wide, am I in tight myself? Really hard to call. Oh my, chasing down here, Favin. Maybe he goes in a bit too deep. Thought he'd catch them unawares, but not the case. Loses his life early.
That's overzealous from Favin. It's a big rookie error that he's made there. He doesn't need to go swinging in towards the fight. He hasn't got that sort of space. He hasn't got the support either. Opening kill towards Aurora. They're happy. Take it, but Jacob Alonso back. Oh, and Cypher going to find one. Will be traded, so still a 3 versus 3. Swing on towards the site is so dicey. Kenzie will fall, and Hampus makes it 2. This man can't be stopped. Leading by example, the IGL locks in 20 kills and thrusts Lackey into a 1 versus 3.
Let's see what he can find. Smoke down. Might just make the decision for him, unfortunately. He's looking to go through it. And you know what? He might get away with it. Oh, my goodness. First kill comes in. He knows that Hampus has got to be around here somewhere. He spotted the shadow. Maybe not. Maybe not. Hampus given a freebie here. Hampus will secure it. 12-4 bleed. And Aurora, they're so close, but just not enough room to work with. They cannot make mistakes here. Bleed 2, 3 steps ahead. But man, Hampus, what a round. And this is just so beautiful. No panic. Knows he's low on ammo.
Has probably, what, 3, 4 bullets left in the chamber? Tough one. Real tough one to lose. That might be spelling the beginning of the end here for Aurora. 12-8. 4 map and series points for Bleed. And the question is now, can they see it off? Open play for Nork. Something that Deco, in this instance, can only dream of as he will to Galil. And already, you know, you can see the economy of Aurora has taken some beatings, batterings throughout this one. Lucky will catch one though. He does get a little bit of a luxury there. Jacob just oversight, but Favinata's back.
Yes, absolutely. Looking good. Into the 4 versus 4 here. Again, very, very split from Aurora. As Deco, with that bomb, has got to be careful not to lose it down below in towards Dark. He's just looking for an opening to come his way. But again, easier said than done. The opening, in fact, is for Mr. Hampus down middle, confirming this. I think they'll be acutely aware that it is likely to be in from behind. Speaking of in from behind, Favin will drop down, takes out Resol and Deco. Looking good here. Hampus has found them, found the bomb, leaving Norvi with it all to do. He's spotted out and spammed away by Hampus. Who else in this game? Bleed will take the grand final spot alongside Mongols, looking for revenge after yesterday's loss. It was hard fought here. It certainly was not easy, but they looked fantastic in the end, it has to be said. We're going to take a break and we'll be back with the desk momentarily.
Seems like every time Bleed is going on, they start off a little bit cold. Now they've had a chance to heat up in this lower bracket, and man, did they look hot. Nail, Hampus, once he came online in Ancient, it felt like his internet was never going down.
Yeah, I mean, they just couldn't find a way to stop him. I mean, really able to kind of self-sufficiently find a lot of space, a lot of mileage, especially on that T side. On the CT, when Aurora was struggling to kind of get going, Hampus was consistently able to punish them. And I think, you hate to say it, but he just out-called Norvi completely.
And that felt like it was a story for the entire game. We've also got a couple of stories and numbers coming up for the scoreboard. But meanwhile, Squiv, why don't you tell me a bit of a once upon a time for what's going on with Bleed right now, because they're looking good.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an awful lot going into it. I think the blood and iron to get here that's been spent really coming through. They've scaled up slowly. It's taken them some time. But once they have hit the spot, hit the turning point, I think is maybe the phrase that I'm looking for. They have looked absolutely fantastic. As we've touched on a few times, we've had little tastes of great Counter-Strike, but here on Anubis in particular, they showed us what they are really capable of. It all came together very nicely.
Look, there's going to be a lot of talk about Bleed. Obviously, they're going into the grand finals and everything as well, but I do want to discuss Aurora. Now, it felt like we weren't seeing the best from them.
Yeah, and one man really went missing as well, Resol, right? There's no two ways about it. They really do need him. He is the guy who really gives them a lot of space on that C side. On the C side, he plays a lot of the high-impact roles, and he sadly had no impact. That was the issue. 8 kills is not good enough for a guy who's meant to be the star rifler.
Absolutely, and the final map, no less, of a match that's going to determine your potentially grand finals appearance into a big LAN as well.
Yeah.
It's a big place to go missing, but a man who didn't go missing all across the series is going to be up on your screen right now. Player of the match coming in, no surprises, I suppose, because of the first map's performance. Nok comes in, you know, feels like a bit of a steal cipher. Obviously, map 2 was so influential. Hampus map 3, but Nok was that consistent piece.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he fits in the middle, as we talked about on the broadcast, that sort of pack of Hampus, Cypher, and Nork making that work really does deliver a great game between the Bleed and between Aurora. But at the end of the day, I think Nork looks absolutely fantastic for me. And yeah, maybe just finding his feet a little bit. I think he's always been a player that maybe isn't the greediest or the most vocal, but looking very, very good here.
And of course, the head-to-head coming through, Deco was a star all throughout, even if it felt like at times not necessarily the one shining bright enough to save Aurora. Hampus, though, on the other hand, what a guy this guy is.
Yeah, I mean, Deco's an animal. There's no two ways about it. Just how stoic he is in all of these situations where, you know, the 10-3 down at one point just doesn't care, right? He's still so crisp. And that's why I think Nort getting that man of the match is actually so important. He has the hardest role in the server. How do you stop Deco? I mean, arguably, you can make very strong arguments. He might be the best AWP at this tournament. That's how good Deco is in terms of his ability. And we saw it. Every single map, every single series, Deco is in some way impactful, but it's just he didn't have the support, and I think that's where Bleed were able to kind of overcome them here. Across the board, multiple different angles where people stepped up, and even Favin, who was definitely lower in the scoreboard, plays the hardest roles, anchor positions, a lot of them, and still actually coming up with a fairly decent amount of support.
Look, at the same time, Bleed obviously have been leveling up all across this tournament. This is one of their first runs with the new lineup in a bigger event overall. This is their first LAN in general with the organization. Bleed, from day one to now, Scriv, tell me, what are you thinking? What's changed in this team?
So I feel like, you know, they absolutely have the pieces. There is a lot of this conversation that we had, the practice sort of coming in wasn't quite there. I think there's a lot of working on their own game, therefore. So especially the Mongols is sort of the big thing, where they will know the matchups, they will know the potential teams that they might be facing coming into this tournament. They're all good as the Mongols, so they can take that time, put the resources into learning about how these other teams look. And I think that's exactly what we saw in the game yesterday. Going into the final now, I don't know whether Bleed will have been able to invent or reinvent themselves even. So Mongols might be able to come round and do something similar, but Bleed at the same time, we did see them a little bit on Mirage, couple changes here and there, you know, so there might be a few things that work out for them, and I think that Bleed, to be honest, coming top 2, they'll be very, very happy with that, and now they just have to move into that final and try and tap into what they had there against Aurora.
Closing thoughts on the final. Obviously, now you discussed a lot about how the leadership on Bleed has been looking impeccable from map to map, some great words coming in from Kassad, some great late round decision-making coming in from Hampus. Is that leadership enough? Is that firepower enough going into the grand finals to put up a show? Let's not talk about who'll win, but are we going to have a show, or is this going to be Mongols just Whoom! Undefeated.
I think it's very difficult for me to make arguments that Mongols won't just make this very easy. It's not about ability. I think if you were to have this matchup 6 months in the future, then maybe I think actually we could do a really good series. It's just right now, coming in towards this tournament, they had 4 days of boot camp, or 5 days of boot camp. 3 of those days they were playing officials, so they couldn't even prac. And then when they had 4 run-throughs of every map. It's not enough, right? Fundamentally, where Mongols pracking and scrimming day in, day out. They've had so much time together, this core 5, and I think that's going to be the big difference for me. It's not about ability, it's not about individuals, it's actually just about synergy. And I think for Bleed, they're very talented. Like I said, 6 months from now, really good matchup. I think that Bleed maybe even might be able to push to the distance. However, right now, with only 5 days of boot camp, I personally think it's not enough, especially with what we saw yesterday.
Well, listen, it's all about 6 months from now. It's about 120 minutes from now. We're going to be having the grand finals here in the Steppe Arena. Mongolia's biggest event, one of Asia's biggest events we've ever had coming out. That's not a major, it's not something like it. It's going to be absolutely epic. But before that, we've got an epic moment or two coming in. We've actually got a little show match, and we've got a little bit change up as well. Originally, it's going to be, Team K versus Team 9, the Mongolian talent playing against each other. We said, you know what? We've got a little bastard right here who wants to get on the action. Make sure you're tuning in for that one. It'll be Ne0kai going up against K. Can he do anything, or will he be dying on Mongolian soil? Find out after a break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I started playing in 7 years ago. I just playing matchmaking, then update PC and playing Faceit. It's like I play with Norvi, these hubs, and we play together. And Overdrive invite to Academy team, and just step by step. It was like 2 years ago. We get bench with Norvi in Forza, and Norvi going to Aurora, and he tell me, go with me, go with me. 1 month I just waiting more invites, and I just said, okay, I will go with you. Let's go together play. I'm actually like it. He give good mid call, and he actually I'm liking people, so friendly. About food I can't say now because I'm not eating Mongolian food, but I will try. I like it. I don't know, we just need to back our form, good individual form, team form. We will try to play good CS and just watch how can we play. And thanks everyone for support. I love you guys. Cheer Mongolia.
Red Bull gives you wings.
За өмнө 22 оны Nomadic Masters-тэй манай баг одоо тухайд финалд нь NK-тэй багтаа тоглоод одоо аварга алдчихсан. Тухайд эрэхтэй гадагшаа явах эрэхтэй пластик тэмцээнд явах эрэхтэй тэмцээн байсан. Тэр яг үндээс айгүй харамсалтай тэмцээн болж исэн бид хэдийн хувьд яг тухайд одоо мажорын өмнөх RMR шатанд ер нь шалгарцсан. Азаас ингээ шалгараад ер нь айгүй амжилттай явах жагаа бас үе байсан. Тэгээд яг бас нэг бодлоо амар харамсалтай болж ирсэн тухайд нэг бодлоо айгүй зөв ажиглал бас гэж бодож байгаа яг. Энэ удаагийн Nomadic Masters дээр бид нар өмнө одоо хийж таагүй одоо дутуу хийсэн зүйлээ ер нь гүйцэлдүүлж чадах бас нэг том боломж гэж харж байгаа. За яг одоогийн байдлаар бид нар яг хамгийн том одоо аваргын цомтой тэмцээн гэвэл яг Extreme Land байгаа сайхан оролцсон. Хэрвээ одоо энэ Nomadic Masters бид нар яг төрүүлж чадвал энэ тэмцээн одоо бидний хувьд оролцсон одоо олон улсын тэмцээн дундаас хамгийн том цом авсан ер нь тэмцээн болно гэж бодож байна да. Миний яг хувийн зүгээс яг хамгийн том оролцож ирсэн одоо үзэгчтэй тэмцээн гэвэл одоо Риод болж ирсэн мажорын тэмцээн байгаа. Яг нэг хасагдах шатны тоглолтын дээр 0-0 нэртэй тоглож ирсэн. Тухайд яг бидэрт яг нэг бас нэг хэцүү байсан юм нэг өөдөөс барьцэл хөгжөө нэмжчнэр байгаа. Тэгээс бидний тоглож байгааг барьцэлоод ер нь тэр нас ер нь бас ингээд жоохон одоо нутгийн багч жоохон давуу ч юм уу яг нэг жоохон итгэл үнэмшилтэй тоглоход ер нь жоохон тус болдог юм шиг байлээ. Ингээл одоо жишээ наадглаад бид хэдийг одоо раунд авахгүйт те тэнд яг ингээд дэмжээд орилж байгаа ер нь айгүй цөөхөн яг нөгөө талд ингээд одоо айлын нутгийн баг ингээд раунд авахгүйт орилж ингээд дэмжиж байгаа үе амар их байсан. Тэр нь нутагтаа тоглох нь амар давуу талтай л гэж бодож байна. За Gaming Gladiators багтай өмнө Ecstatic нэртэй байхад нь саяхан мажор дээр энэ оны мажор дээр тоглоод бид нэр хожигдсон. Тэгээ сүүлд энэ тэмцээнд ирэх гэж байгаа сэтгэл дээрээ нэг жоох эвгүй яриа өгцсөн байлаа манай эсрэг. Тэгээд тэр үгийг одоо буцааж өгөхөд ер нь амын тагландаа л гэж хэлээ да. За өмнө 22 оны Nomadic Masters-тэй манай баг одоо тухайд финалд нь NK-тэй багтаа тоглоод одоо аварга алдчихсан. Тухайд эрэхтэй гадагшаа явах.
It is my first time in Mongolia. I haven't been there for too long yet, but so far I'm pretty happy with the hotel is good, the weather has been good, and yeah, everything is good so far. I mean, the main thing I want to do in Mongolia is to win this tournament. I made the decision to join Bleed pretty fast. I know they have quality players, they have a quality coach, and I just wanted, to kind of work with Kasad again. He said good things about all the people in the team, so that is the main reason. And I think settling in is going pretty well. They're fitting me in pretty well. From 1 to 10, I would probably rate it at like 3 maybe, because we have had no time, no practice almost. We played officials before we came here. I think I have high expectation because I know we're skilled. I think maybe we can shoot our way through the tournament and maybe even win it. But we're not like super prepared. I think last LAN I played was still Melbourne, I think. I played in the arena there. Arena is what every player is playing for, Playing in front of a crowd is special, and it doesn't matter where in the world you're playing. So, I expect us to go to the arena, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty confident we're gonna win, just because I believe in the team's ability to win. I haven't seen too much, but I have coaches and analytical people that will take care of that. I think the biggest difference is the tactical aspect. I think the Asian teams can shoot just as good as all the European teams, if not even better. But I think the Europeans are a little bit ahead when it comes to the tactical department. From Asia, it's for sure Mongols. They have been playing pretty well recently. I've seen a lot of good results in Europe, fighting versus the best teams. And I would say the biggest rival from Europe is probably Aurora. I hope they cheer for us. Of course, understand that, versus Mongolian teams or even Asian teams, they will probably cheer for the other team, but I hope that we can win the crowd.
Сайн байна уу, би Монгол цагийн тоглогч Зинзүү байна. Тэгээд өнөөдөр 10 асуултаар би бомб шалгах гэж ирлээ. За тэгээд эхлэе да. За 12 сарын 3-7 гэж бодож бодлох хараг. За юу энэ Монгол цаг Эмзинио 15. За чадварлаг залуу тэгээд юу юм бэ? Тийм. Яа энэ дэр ингээ гацчих юм уу би? Бомб дэлбэрсэн. За юу бомб салах юм. Энэ шахам мейжер хэдэн сар хэдэнд болох вэ гэд би бол энэ дээр л алдсан баха. Яг 12 сард болох хэрэгтэй юм шүү дээ. Яг хэдэн би мэдэхгүй байна. Миний бодлоор бараг дондор гэж магадгүй 12 сарын. Энэ бол бодлааха. Тэгээд хоёр дахь асуулт болохоор смог задраад хэдэн секундэд дуусах вэ гэдэг дээр би бол 15 гэж бодож байна. Үгүй 20 болцсон шүү дээ. Энэ дээрээс алдсан. Энэ дээрээс алдсан. Өмнө хуучин гов дээр болохоор 15 секунд гэдэгсэн. CS 2 гарцсан болохоор ингээд 20 секунд болцсон. Дараагийн асуулт нь Nomadic Masters тэмцээнд орж байгаа хамгийн залуу тэмцээн бэ? Тэр нь манай багийн тоглогч Тэмцээний. Нэг бол зөв таасан баха биний бодлоор. Тэгээд энэ дахиад асуулт Nomadic Masters тэмцээнд орж байгаа ижилтэй хамгийн өндөр ангитай баг ямар баг гэхээр манай баг 12 тагаа. Одоо 15 онцгой тэгж санаад байна юм тач. Би яг энэ асуултан дээр амар алдлаа. Багаа 3 үгээр илэрхийлүүл гэдэг дээр яг нэг үг алддаг юм байна. Тэгээд ямартай чадварлаг залуу тэгээд энэ дээрээ дуусах чи ихээр за тэгэхээр мундаг л хичээлээ. За би ингээд 5 асуултнаас 3-ын л зөв тааж чадлаа. Тэгээд ямартайчтай баялаа. Тэгээд нийт энэ тэмцээнд оролцож байгаа бүх багуудад ямартай амжилт хүсье. Тэгээд Nomadic Masters тэмцээнээр оролцгаая.
Hi, I'm Kai Cypher, and let's defuse the bomb. How many minutes does the user graffiti spray last? 60 seconds, maybe? And then, oh shit, wrong way. If you could take one player from another team, who would it be? Monacy, probably. No Flame Nork. Who's the youngest player in Nomadic Masters? Is it Malzinu, maybe, for Mongols? When was CS2 had officially released? I don't know, like December 25th. That's Christmas. How many majors have there been in CSGO? Oh, 19. How would you describe your team in 3 words? Chaotic, fun, lost. How would you describe your team in 3 words? So, chaotic, would I say fun and lost? I mean, chaotic, I think it can be at times. And lost, I lost a bomb, so I just had to say something. And then fun, I mean, I think we all have a good time in our team, so yeah. Who's the youngest player in Nomadic Masters? I would say Malzinho, because I think he looks youngest, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure, I think I heard it, he was 15, 16, something like that, so yeah. When the CS2 had officially released, yeah, I have no idea. I have none. I've honestly, random number. Random month, that's about it. And then how many majors had I been in CSGO? I don't know why I said 19. Actually, I mean, that could be kind of right because there's normally 2 majors a year and then 12 months. Possibly. It was right. Oh my god, what a guess. And then I think that's it, right? Okay, cool. So I wasn't able to defuse the bomb, but do you think you could?